Chapter 3104. Dragon's Roar and Phoenix's Cry. Night Sorrow immediately used the dragon's roar and Phoenix's cry to fight against the puppet bat's sonic attack. This was his strongest divine soul attack at the moment. Boom! Night Sorrow's mind was filled with thoughts. Once he used this move, he immediately blasted the puppet bat's attack back. However, this puppet bat did not have a divine soul at all, so it did not cause much damage to it. Qingxian Godly Spear Technique. The divine soul attack did not have any effect on the puppet bat. Night Sorrow immediately held the black spear in his hand and used the Qingxian Godly Spear Technique against the puppet bat. This set of attacks contained several of the Eternal Sovereign Realm's divine abilities. Moreover, it was integrated with the murderous aura of the fog. Its attack power was even stronger than in the Eternal Supreme World. Using the body of a Heavenly Supreme, it quickly suppressed the puppet bat. What? The puppet bat was suppressed so quickly. Chao Ling was very surprised that the puppet bat was suppressed so quickly. However, after the puppet bat was suppressed, he took out a yellow talisman. Then, he used his blood to activate the talisman. After it was activated, a figure immediately rose from the talisman. This figure was one of the 10 generals under Mia, Chao Jian. However, this was just his virtual image. It couldn't even be considered a clone. This was Chao Ling's strongest move in the fog. This time, Night Sorrow's strength had exceeded his expectations. Therefore, he did not use some of his trump cards. He was afraid that he would be killed if he was careless. Boom! At the same time that Chao Jian's shadow was summoned, the puppet bat's core was pierced by Night Sorrow's black spear, and it exploded into pieces. You can stop now. At this time, Chao Jian's shadow looked at Night Sorrow and said, "You were originally dead, but you gave birth to spiritual intelligence in the body of an evil spirit. This is not easy. It would be a pity to destroy you directly. Hand over the 2 eternal divine towers in your hands. I will let you follow me. Who do you think you are? Do you think you are qualified to order me around?" Night Sorrow said disdainfully as he looked at Chao Jian's shadow. The other party was very strong, but it was impossible for him to hand over little 7 and little 9 and submit. Bastard. Since you don't know what's good for you, this marshal is too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Die. As one of the most respected people in the fog zone, Chao Jian had never been provoked like this before. He didn't waste any time and immediately formed a seal with his shadow and slammed his palm towards Night Sorrow. In terms of technique, this palm strike was a true Heavenly Supreme level attack. However, the power of the Heavenly Sovereign's projection was not even 1/10 of the real body's. After making a decision, Night Sorrow directly controlled the demon clone and fought it head-on. His attack also contained some Heavenly Supreme laws and essence. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to suppress the puppet bat so easily. Boom! When the 2 of them collided, a huge energy ripple immediately appeared in the void. Many things in the surroundings were directly destroyed. Although Chao Ling also had some strength, she was also injured by the attack. After exchanging a blow, Chao Jian's shadow sneered and said, "How dare you provoke this marshal with such little strength? You must be tired of living." Then, he warned Chao Ling to be careful and began to attack Night Sorrow's demon clone crazily. Under Chao Jian's suppression, although Night Sorrow's strength was slightly weaker, he didn't retreat at all. Although he was no match for Chao Jian, he was honing his fighting skills. Although Chao Jian was very strong, he was a shadow after all, which was perfect for him to practice his skills. This guy is too strong. It's hard for us to win. Bai Mei Sanren said with a frown when he saw that Night Sorrow was being suppressed. At this moment, Night Sorrow replied, "No matter how difficult the process is today, the final winner will be us." After saying that, he continued to fight Chao Jian. After fighting for about an hour, Night Sorrow was a little exhausted and couldn't control the demon clone anymore. Therefore, he began to escape towards the 5 Bulls formation and prepared to lure Chao Jian and Chao Ling into the 5 Bulls formation. At this moment, Night Sorrow's original body had also arrived, but he didn't show up. Haha. trying to escape. Not so easy. The father and son pair, Chao Jian and Chao Ling, were used to running amok in the fog. Seeing that Night Sorrow was no match for them and was escaping, they didn't doubt him and chased after him. As he had to bring Chao Ling along, Chao Jian didn't burst out with his fastest speed. However, he was still closing the distance between them. Before long, he almost caught up with Night Sorrow's demon clone. At this moment, Night Sorrow's original body appeared and continued to control the demon clone to escape towards the Five Bulls formation. You have companions? I can catch all of you in one fell swoop. Seeing Night Sorrow's original body appear, Chao Jian roared coldly. You still don't understand who will catch all of you in one fell swoop. Night Sorrow laughed coldly in his heart and sped up with the evil spirit doppelganger. Soon, he brought Chao Jian and Chao Ling into the Five Bulls formation. After entering the formation, Night Sorrow immediately stopped and began to let the demon clone consume elixirs to recover. Haha. Why aren't you running anymore? Can't run anymore? Then prepare to die. You, a nameless pawn, want to occupy the Eternal Devil Tower? Dream on. The father and son who were led by the nose by Night Sorrow still didn't understand what was going on. At this moment, Night Sorrow smiled and said, You're about to die, but you don't know it. What did you say? Prepare to die. A supreme stage ant dares to speak to me like this. As one of the 10 great demon marshals under annihilation, Chao Jian had always been very proud. After being ridiculed by Night Sorrow, he immediately flew into a rage and attacked again. Chao Ling at the side cheered for him. After all, his strength was relatively weak. Even if he attacked, it wouldn't be of much use. Five Bulls formation, rise. In the face of Chao Jian's attack, Night Sorrow, who didn't want to cause trouble, immediately recited the incantation and activated the Five Bulls formation. After the formation was activated, the sound of 5 bulls was immediately heard. The 5 bull sounds were like thunder from the sky. After being bombarded by it, Chao Jian's virtual shadow became dim at a speed visible to the naked eye. This 5 bulls formation had the greatest impact on the soul. Chao Jian's virtual shadow couldn't withstand it at all. Father! Save me! On the other side, Chao Ling couldn't withstand the impact of the 5 bulls formation and roared loudly. At this moment, he only felt like his head was being crushed. It was very uncomfortable. Father's virtual shadow can't even protect itself. At this moment, Chao Jian's virtual shadow, who was attacked by the 5 bulls formation, said coldly. He didn't expect that a nameless pawn not only ignored his name, but also set up such a mysterious formation and made him fall into a trap. He himself was fine. He only lost a virtual shadow. He could refine it casually. But in front of him, Chao Ling was obviously in danger. Clan M. Chapter 3105. Let my son go, and you can take the Eternal Devil Tower. Seeing that the situation was not right, Chao Jian's projection thought for a moment and made a prompt decision. Hand over the Eternal Devil Tower, and we'll talk about other things. Night Sorrow said coldly. Now that he had the upper hand, he did not give the other party a chance to refute. Okay. Chao Ling, give him the Eternal Devil Tower. Chao Jian's projection was clearly about to collapse, so he agreed to Night Sorrow's request without hesitation. Hearing this, Chao Ling shouted reluctantly, Father. She clearly did not want to hand it over. At this moment, Chao Jian immediately transmitted his voice, hand it over, don't seek your own death. Oh, okay. Chao Ling only calmed down when she heard Chao Jian's cold snort and realized their situation. If she did not do as Night Sorrow said, it would be difficult for them to leave this formation alive. Here. After hesitating for a moment, Chao Ling took out the 5th level of the Eternal Devil Tower and handed it to Night Sorrow. Cut off the connection between you and it. After Night Sorrow took the 5th level of the Eternal Devil Tower, he immediately ordered Chao Ling to cut off the connection with it. At this moment, Chao Ling was still enslaving Small Tower. Okay. I'll cooperate with you, but you have to let me go. With that, Chao Ling took control of the 5th level of the Eternal Devil Tower. Handing over the 5th level of the Eternal Devil Tower is what you should do. As for your lives, what are you going to sell it for? After Night Sorrow obtained the 5th level of the Eternal Devil Tower, he was actually very satisfied. But how to deal with Chao Ling was a problem. If he killed her, he would definitely be hunted down by Chao Jian, and even Annihilation might order him to be dragged out. At that time, it would be difficult for him to survive in the fog, not to mention sneaking into Lu Tian Academy. Therefore, he could not kill Chao Ling. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Chao Jian immediately saw his attitude and said, I won't pursue this matter. I'll also give you some compensation, how about that? Actually, this was what he meant. He and Night Sorrow were well aware of what was going on. Okay. Then you make an oath. Night Sorrow was not interested in the so-called compensation and continued to speak. When he heard Night Sorrow asking him to make an oath, Chao Jian's expression changed. However, he recovered very quickly and said, You are the first person to make this marshal swear an oath. You don't have to say that. Just do your own thing. Night Sorrow said coldly. He had a certain understanding of the creatures in the fog. He knew that they were basically people who went back on their word. But making an oath was a completely different story. Oaths were perfect checks and balances for cultivators. Since he had made the decision, he had to follow it. Otherwise, he would be punished by the heavens. Good. This marshal is optimistic about your future. After Chao Jian said that, he immediately swore an oath and took Chao Ling away. Very good. This matter has been perfectly resolved, and it won't affect the subsequent plans. After Chao Jian and his son left, Bai Mei chuckled. In fact, just like Night Sorrow, he wanted to kill his opponent here. However, they all knew that this was not the time to act on impulse. They could not spoil the whole game because of a chess piece. Otherwise, it would be a loss for the greater good. Let's see how Little 5 is doing. After Chao Jian and Chao Ling left, Little 7 and Little 9 immediately said anxiously. The murderous aura on its body is too strong. I need to help dispel it. Night Sorrow said. Then, he used the power of merit in the array to help dispel the black aura on the 5th level. It took about 2 hours to completely dispel the murderous aura on the 5th level. After regaining clarity, he immediately saw Little 7 and Little 9 on the 5th level. He said excitedly, the 7th and 9th levels. Are you the ones who saved me? I have been enslaved for God knows how many years. During this period, I lost my self-awareness. On the 5th level, call me Little 7, call him Little 9, and you will be called Little 5. The person who saved you is Night Sorrow. We are also saved by him. Look at yourself. There is no longer any black aura on your body. Little 7 immediately replied. Hearing this, Little 5 realized that not only had he regained his consciousness, but he had also completely escaped from the darkness. He immediately said excitedly, That's great. That's great. After being the Eternal Devil Tower for so many years, I have finally regained my self-awareness today. Then, he looked at Night Sorrow and said gratefully, Thank you for saving me. You are welcome. Actually, I want to gather all 9 levels of the Eternal Divine Tower. Night Sorrow did not hide his thoughts and explained to Little 5. Hearing this, Little 5 pondered for a moment and said, It is not easy to gather all 9 levels. The other levels are easy, but the first level is in the main city of Extermination City. Usually, it is used by millions of cultivators for cultivation. It seems that it is indeed very difficult to get the first level. But there is no hurry. Let's take it slowly. First of all, welcome to us. Night Sorrow said to Little 5 and continued, You guys catch up. I still have things to do. Okay. You do what you need to do. Little 9 said and started chatting with Little 5 and Little 7. Night Sorrow left the 5 Bulls formation and secretly returned to Team Cloud Devil to help them break the formation. The formation was set up by Night Sorrow, so it was naturally broken very quickly. At this time, Chao Ling had already left, and the bats that filled the sky also disappeared. For the time being, Team Cloud Devil was not in any danger. At this time, team leader Cloud Devil said, "Although this trip was dangerous, it is really boring to go back without getting anything. Let's continue to go deeper." "Yes, team leader." Night Sorrow and the rest immediately responded. To Night Sorrow, he was already satisfied with obtaining the 5th level of the Eternal Divine Tower. As for the rest, it did not matter at all. He just followed them and did whatever he wanted. In the next few days, Team Cloud Devil encountered many dangers. Basically, it was Night Sorrow who helped everyone through it. Gradually, Team Cloud Devil and the rest naturally saw that Night Sorrow was extraordinary. Under their insistence, Night Sorrow was actually appointed as the vice team leader. Night Sorrow did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, becoming the vice team leader of Team Cloud Devil would definitely be helpful for the trip to Cloud Breath mining area. Therefore, he did not refuse. Then, with the rest of the team, they went into the depths of the small world. However, Night Sorrow did not want to stay in the small world for too long, so he missed out on the Cloud Breath mining area. During the journey, he kept thinking about how to make everyone think of leaving as soon as possible. However, on a certain day 2 months later, Team Cloud Devil really bumped into an opportunity. They discovered a flower that was close to the level of a Heavenly Supreme, the Heavenly Spirit Flower. This flower was obviously a Heavenly Spirit flower, but it had not fully bloomed. When it fully bloomed, it would definitely reach the level of a Heavenly Supreme. If a peak Earthly Supreme cultivator consumed it, they would definitely advance to the level of a Heavenly Supreme. It wasn't just Team Cloud Devil that was tempted by such a treasure. Even Night Sorrow was very interested. Chapter 3106. If they could obtain a Heavenly Spirit flower that had matured to the level of a Heavenly Sovereign, it would undoubtedly be an opportunity for them to become a Heavenly Sovereign. This was a great opportunity. After all, in the Eternal Supreme World and the Fog, Heavenly Sovereigns were existences that were second only to one person and above tens of thousands. For ordinary cultivators, they were existences that only existed in legends. Night Sorrow, like the rest of the Cloud Devil squad, was unconsciously tempted by the flower. Leading the squad, Cloud Devil checked the surroundings and found that there were no life-bound beasts around the Heavenly Spirit flower. From the looks of it, there was no danger. Cloud Devil said, "Everyone, set up the formation immediately. Use all your abilities to set up the formation. Try to hide the Heavenly Spirit flower completely. No matter what, we have to wait until it matures. If we pluck it now, it will consume too much energy." "All right. I'll give it a try with everyone." After Cloud Devil finished speaking, Night Sorrow immediately stood up and expressed his opinion. The Heavenly Spirit flower in front of them was definitely something good. Even if he lost his identity as a member of the Cloud Devil squad, he couldn't miss it. He prepared to set up the formation that he was good at. At this moment, Cloud Devil suddenly said, "Let Chen Feng set up the formation with the rest. After all, he has always been in charge of this kind of thing." "All right. All right then." Night Sorrow glanced at Cloud Devil. After seeing the Heavenly Spirit flower, Cloud Devil had been on guard against them. He immediately realized that it would have been fine if they didn't have the opportunity. However, once there was something good, as an outsider, he would immediately be on guard. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that if the Cloud Devil squad made a move against him, he would eliminate them and obtain the Heavenly Spirit flower. Then, he would use other methods to enter the Cloud Breath mining area. Next, under the leadership of another vice-captain, Chen Feng, the Cloud Devil squad set up the concealment and attack formations. About 2 days later, all the formations were set up. Looking at the formations that Chen Feng and the rest had set up, Night Sorrow frowned. Although the formations they had set up seemed passable, they were only meant for earthly sovereigns and low-level earthly sovereigns. They were completely useless against half-step heavenly sovereigns. Moreover, the aura of the Heavenly Spirit flower couldn't be hidden. It would definitely attract powerful cultivators. Considering the value of the Heavenly Spirit flower, Night Sorrow said, Captain. The array before me can't stop a half-step heavenly sovereign. There's still room for improvement. Why don't you let me set it up again? Otherwise, when the heavenly spirit flower matured, it would definitely attract powerful enemies. With our strength, it's very difficult to protect it. Vice Captain Night Demon, by saying this, you are doubting Vice Captain Chen's ability. This is not right. In the future, don't say such things again. Otherwise, it will affect the harmony of the team. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Captain Cloud Devil immediately retorted coldly. He did not bring up the issue of whether the array was of inferior quality. Instead, he directly changed the topic to the harmony of the team. Obviously, they didn't want Night Sorrow to touch the array, fearing that he would tamper with it. The reason why they didn't fall out with him immediately was probably because he had performed very well in the past few days and had saved many people. All right. I don't care. I hope you won't regret it. When Night Sorrow heard Cloud Devil's words, he immediately pondered what to do. At this moment, if he went all out, he would definitely be able to wipe out all of Team Cloud Devil. But up until now, other than being on guard against him, Team Cloud Devil was doing pretty well in other aspects. They did not attack the Heavenly Spirit Flower after discovering it. With Night Sorrow's code of conduct, even if he was in the fog, he would not do such a ruthless thing. But if Cloud Devil and the rest were to target him first, he would not hesitate to wipe out the entire Cloud Devil team. After saying that, he began to think about how to deal with the various opponents he encountered. At this moment, Chen Qingyan transmitted his voice, Brother Yi, I know that you are unwilling to attack Team Cloud Devil because of my wife's matter. But you can't miss the Heavenly Spirit Flower in front of you. It's better to kill them all directly and then set up a concealment array. As for saving my wife, let's think about it at length. He felt that it was because of his wife that Night Sorrow was so timid. Hearing this, Night Sorrow replied, let's wait and see. If they do anything strange, I won't be polite. But if I attack rashly, I won't be able to get over it. But they are creatures of the fog and are destined to be on the opposite side of us. Why should we be polite to trash like them? Chen Qingyun said, puzzled. At this moment, Bai Mei Sanren said, if Night Sorrow did not have his own code of conduct, he would not have the power of merit he has today. Don't force him to make a move under such circumstances. This is not in line with his Tao heart. It will affect his Tao heart and affect his Tao. All right then. Chen Qingyun nodded. At this moment, Little Seven suddenly transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow. We found a pleasant surprise. Although the three of us can't be perfectly combined. But when combined, we can still increase our strength by a lot. We have the strength of a half-step Sky Supreme. And we have a certain amount of attack power. It's not like before, where we only have defense and no attack power. Oh. That's a good thing. In that case, as long as the Heavenly Spirit Flower doesn't attract the Sky Supreme, we have a great chance. Upon hearing Little Seven's words, Night Sorrow said happily. He had no expectations for the current Eternal Divine Tower, but he did not expect them to bring a pleasant surprise. Now, Night Sorrow's Eternal Divine Tower had the combat power of a half-step Sky Supreme. Although the chaotic Heavenly Crystal Beast had just advanced to the Earth Supreme level, its strength was very strong and was basically not inferior to an Upper Earth Supreme. It was also a great help. Coupled with him and the evil spirit doppelganger, their true combat power was still very strong. While Night Sorrow and Little Seven were communicating, the members of Team Cloud Devil were also transmitting their voices to each other. After discovering the Heavenly Spirit Flower, many thoughts came to their minds. As cultivators of the fog, it was impossible for them not to covet such a rare treasure. It seemed that everyone had their own thoughts. Vice Captain Night Devil, how long do you think it will take for the Heavenly Spirit Flower to fully mature? While everyone had their own thoughts, Team Cloud Devil suddenly asked. Night Sorrow was still not used to the pseudonym Night Devil. After being called, he reacted for a while and said, I think it will take 1 to 3 years. Since it will take 1 to 3 years to mature, why don't you go out and do something for me, Vice Captain Night Devil? Cloud Devil looked at Night Sorrow and said. Oh. What do you want me to do at this juncture? Team Cloud Devil, you're not guarding against me, are you? Night Sorrow looked at Cloud Devil and asked with a sneer. Cloud Devil wanted to kick him out of the array in front of him so that he could not return. As long as one was not a fool, they would be able to react in time. The captain wants you to do something, so just do it. Stop talking nonsense. As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, the other vice captain, Chen Feng, roared in disdain. Clan M. Chapter 3107. Who do you think you are? You dare to order me around? Night Sorrow questioned gloomily. After Chen Feng berated him, his expression changed immediately. If this Cloud Devil squad was willing to talk things over, he would have no intention of making a move. However, at this moment, the other party was obviously trying to pick a fight. Evidently, they were trying to negotiate. You are an outsider trash. You want to share the heavenly spirit flower with us? Captain is already giving you face by allowing you to leave. Yet you don't know what's good for you. Aren't you courting death? After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Chen Feng spoke coldly. As he spoke, he took out a pitch-black cloak and draped it over his shoulders. It seemed like he was preparing to make a move. Hearing his words, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "So your Cloud Devil squad only needs people for missions. When you see something good, you kick people away. With such breadth of mind, your achievements will stop here. Is the accomplishments of my Cloud Devil squad something a mere sovereign like you can talk about?" After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Cloud Devil looked at Night Sorrow coldly and said, "You are an ant that loses control the moment you see a treasure? We gave you a chance to leave. Yet you insisted on fighting for the credit. Since you are courting death, don't blame us. The way I see it, Cloud Devil squad might be able to achieve something. However, it will definitely be under my leadership." At this time, Night Sorrow pondered and said, "I will immediately kill Cloud Devil and Chen Feng. The rest of you will follow me in the future." He felt that this method would not delay the treasure hunt, nor would it affect their plan to enter the Cloud Breath mining area. This was a perfect solution. Ha ha ha. You are truly an arrogant person. Die. Hearing Yishan's words, Chen Feng smiled and started chanting the mantra. Next, the cloak behind him became transparent. Next, his body completely merged with the void. He had become invisible. Night Sorrow used his soul to probe around and found that he was indeed unable to sense Chen Feng's aura. As for Cloud Devil, despite his gloomy expression, he did not make a move immediately. As far as he was concerned, Chen Feng was more than capable of dealing with Night Sorrow. There was simply no need for him to make a move himself. As for the other members of Cloud Devil's team, about half of them were loyal to Cloud Devil. The other half, after Night Sorrow spoke, had the idea of following whoever was stronger. After all, Cloud Devil was a very ruthless person, and Night Sorrow had saved a few lives before. It could be said that he had planted some seeds. Dragon roar and phoenix cry. He was unable to sense Chen Feng's location. However, Night Sorrow was clear that Chen Feng was definitely within the formation, looking for an opportunity to make his move. He might as well use the dragon's roar and phoenix's cry to launch a soul attack. Buzz. When Night Sorrow used dragon roar and phoenix cry, a terrifying ripple appeared in the void. After this ripple appeared, it immediately intimidated everyone in the Cloud Devil squad. As for Chen Feng, who was hiding in the void and was about to make a move against Night Sorrow, he was immediately shaken out of the void. Chen Feng was a Middle-earthly sovereign. In the Cloud Devil squad, he could be considered the second strongest expert, second only to Cloud Devil. However, Night Sorrow had the strength to battle a half-step heavenly sovereign. How could Chen Feng compare to him? Although he had some tricks up his sleeve, they were all destroyed in an instant. How is this possible? After being shaken out of the void by Night Sorrow, Chen Feng was filled with disbelief. Night Sorrow's strength had far exceeded his expectations. One could say that Night Sorrow's strength had exceeded the limits of his control. He immediately transmitted his voice to Cloud Devil. Captain. Let's attack together. This Night Devil is not someone I can deal with. All right. Since we have shed all pretenses of cordiality, there is nothing left to say. Everyone, attack together and kill this Night Devil. Cloud Devil could also sense that Night Sorrow was not simple. The moment Shen Feng was shaken out of the void, he gave the order. Hearing this, most of the cultivators in the Cloud Devil squad took out their divine tools and prepared to encircle Night Sorrow. Apart from them, there were 4 or 5 cultivators that had been saved by Night Sorrow. They hesitated. Although the Fog region's cultivators were extremely bloodthirsty, Night Sorrow had saved their lives. Thus, they were still somewhat grateful. Are you guys trying to rebel? Why? Are you guys unwilling to make a move against him? Are you guys planning to go against me, Cloud Devil? Cloud Devil was infuriated when he saw the hesitant cultivators. At the same time he berated them, it seemed like he was going to make a move against them. Under his pressure, these cultivators took out their divine tools as well. There are still a few of you who haven't completely lost your humanity. Seeing that a few cultivators were hesitating, Night Sorrow immediately committed their names to memory. Next, he transmitted his voice to them. Cloud Devil and Shen Feng are 2 pieces of trash. They won't amount to anything. When the battle starts, you guys can only put on a show. I will be able to kill them very soon. In the future, the Cloud Devil squad will be ours. Good. We are willing to follow you. These cultivators transmitted their voices to Night Sorrow one after another. Basically, all of them gave a positive reply. This could be considered the choice of a crafty rabbit with 3 burrows. Night Sorrow understood this clearly. However, he did not need their loyalty. He only needed them to cooperate with him to maintain the Cloud Devil squad. Therefore, this was enough. Cloud Devil could also see that these people seemed to be two-faced. He thought to himself, after dealing with this Night Devil, I will kill all of you. At the same time, he started attacking Night Sorrow. Cloud Devil did not use his divine tool. Instead, he used Cloud Devil's hand. In the air, a huge hand imprint was formed. It covered the sky and smashed toward Night Sorrow. You have some skills. Night Sorrow observed it with his clam dragon's eye. He discovered that this hand imprint was not an ordinary attack. That was because on the hand imprint, there were all sorts of ripples. Each ripple contained a powerful energy. Facing this attack, he did not use his black spear. Instead, he used Divine Finger. He had carefully concealed this move. What he used was a black aura, making it impossible for others to see its true nature. Bang! After the Divine Finger was used, it immediately pierced through the Cloud Devil's hand. What? He's so strong. The Cloud Devil's hand was one of Cloud Devil's 3 ultimate arts. However, it had been broken so easily by Night Sorrow. This surprised him greatly. He also had a new evaluation of Night Sorrow's strength. He shouted, the Night Devil is very strong. Everyone, use your full strength and deal with him quickly. Otherwise, the sound of the battle will attract other experts. Yes. Shen Feng and the rest answered immediately. They all used their secret methods and raised their strength to the maximum. Cloud Devil, there is a saying that goes, heaven's sins can be forgiven, but the sins we bring upon ourselves are the hardest to bear. You are courting death. When you see something good, you even attack your own people. A person like you is not worthy of leading a squad. Go die. Currently, Night Sorrow was using the Treastrimsa battle's secret method. In truth, if it wasn't for the sake of winning people's hearts, he would not have said such nonsense. He felt that there was no need to reason with people from the fog. Clan M. Chapter 3108. After shouting, Night Sorrow erupted. While dodging everyone's attacks, he locked onto Chen Feng as his first target. For him, even if he did not use his evil spirit clone, it would not be a problem for him to fight these people. Hence, he did not engage in any fights. After locking onto Chen Feng, Night Sorrow unleashed his Qingxian godly spear art. In less than 10 breaths of time, Chen Feng was completely killed. Chen Feng's soul was completely destroyed. So strong? Seeing Night Sorrow valiantly killing Chen Feng, Cloud Devil started panicking. With his strength, it was impossible for him to kill Chen Feng so easily under such circumstances. But now, Night Sorrow had done it. This proved that Night Sorrow was obviously stronger than him. However, now that things had developed to this point, Cloud Devil could no longer admit defeat. He started pondering how he should deal with this situation. After pondering for a bit, he took out his voice transmission stone and spoke into it. Next, together with the others, he started fighting Night Sorrow. At this point, his strategy had changed. Instead of trying to kill Night Sorrow, he started stalling for time. During the battle, he constantly harassed Night Sorrow, but didn't actually attack. Cloud Devil, are you trying to stall for time until reinforcements arrive? After fighting for a while, Night Sorrow had already killed 5 or 6 cultivators. Next, he looked at Cloud Devil and asked. So what if I am? When my brother arrives, you will die miserably. Cloud Devil shouted coldly before continuing, everyone, hold on for a little while longer. Reinforcements will arrive soon. You still want to hold on? How long can you hold on? Night Sorrow roared and began attacking the Cloud Devil in a frenzy. As he attacked, he shouted, those who stop, I will spare your life. After he shouted, no one helped Cloud Devil anymore. They could only watch on as he fought Night Sorrow alone. You trash. When my brother arrives, he will avenge me. Cloud Devil, who had realized that things were not looking good, shouted unwillingly. However, that didn't change his fate of death. It didn't take long for him to be killed by Yi Sorrow. It's obvious that everyone is at peace with each other, and we can just divide the heavenly spirit flower equally. You just had to provoke me. After Night Sorrow killed the Cloud Devil, he collected all the items on its body and stored them in his space grotto heaven. Then, he looked towards the others and said, although Cloud Fiend is dead, he is still alive. But there was no need for Team Cloud Devil to follow him. Are you willing to follow me? I'm willing. Of course we're willing. I'm willing to follow. The remaining cultivators all half-knelt on the ground, expressing their willingness to submit. This was no longer as simple as following him. Good. Then make an oath. Night Sorrow didn't believe the cultivators in the foggy area and made them swear an oath. Under such circumstances, the cultivators before him naturally did not have the courage to refute. They immediately swore an oath to the heavens. Then, Night Sorrow began to set up the 5 bowls formation around the heavenly spirit flower. After the formation was completed, he looked at the rest and said, my formation setting skills are much better than Chen Feng's. Even if the Cloud Devil's friends came, they should be able to deal with them easily. You guys don't have to worry about an enemy attack. Recover from your injuries immediately. Yes, Captain Night Devil. These cultivators immediately obeyed and started recovering from their injuries. After about half a month, Night Sorrow saw that everyone's injuries were more or less healed. Then, he started asking about everything regarding Team Cloud Devil. This included how they had cooperated with Cloud Breath mining area. After clarifying everything, Night Sorrow understood that his killing of the Cloud Devil would not affect the overall situation. Hence, he started waiting for the heavenly spirit flower to fully bloom. However, a year later, before the heavenly spirit flower had fully bloomed, Cloudeville's friends arrived. Night Sorrow had set up the 5 bowls formation and the confinement formation. However, he didn't have the materials to set up a concealment formation with a large enough range. Hence, he could only use the concealment formation to cover the heavenly spirit flower. When Cloudeville's 4 friends arrived, they saw Night Sorrow and Team Cloud Devil within the formation. They immediately understood that Cloud Devil had definitely been killed. The leader of the group, a cultivator with the appearance of a Taoist nun, shouted, have you guys killed Cloud Devil? Where is the heavenly spirit flower? What does that have to do with you guys? Night Sorrow asked disdainfully. He didn't take the 4 upper earthly sovereigns in front of him seriously. In the 5 bulls formation, he could even deal with a half-step heavenly sovereign, let alone these people in front of him. However, when they saw the arrival of the 4 cultivators, the rest of Team Cloud Devil appeared extremely flustered. In their opinion, the 4 cultivators in front of them were too powerful. They were not people they could fight against. Hence, they were extremely flustered. While responding to the 4 people in front of him, he transmitted his voice to everyone. They are just 4 pieces of rubble. I can deal with them easily. You guys don't have to be afraid. Yes. Captain's strength is boundless. When they saw how confident Night Sorrow was, they immediately relaxed. At this moment, the 4 people who had been ridiculed by Night Sorrow were instantly enraged. Especially the Taoist nun who had just spoken. She wanted to attack immediately. However, she was stopped by a fox-headed earthly sovereign beside her. The fox-headed earthly sovereign said, "They have set up a formation. That's why they are so fearless. Don't be rash. Wait until I break the formation. These useless soldiers and crab generals will be easy to kill." After saying that, he began to study the method to break the formation. Why don't I see the heavenly spirit flower? Could it be that Cloud Devil is about to be killed, so he deliberately made up a lie to lure us here? While the fox-headed earthly sovereign was breaking the formation, the Taoist nun said doubtfully, "It should be. Otherwise, Cloud Devil wouldn't have died. It might have been concealed by the people inside with a formation." A skinny cultivator with a ruthless scar on his face said. After he finished speaking, the fox-headed earthly sovereign said, "Someone used a formation to conceal the aura of the heavenly spirit flower. But I can smell it. It's inside the formation. Let's kill all these people in front of us and avenge Cloud Devil. If we take the heavenly spirit flower, it will be worth it for him. You guys are thinking too much." Night Sorrow was inside the formation. When he heard what everyone said, a disdainful smile appeared on his face. These people were about to be killed, but they didn't know it. Just like Cloud Devil, they were still fantasizing about this and that. What a joke. He temporarily closed the formation. Haha. The formation is broken. After Night Sorrow closed the formation, the fox-headed earthly sovereign thought that he had broken the formation. With a shout, he rushed in and attacked Night Sorrow. In fact, he had broken one formation. It was an ordinary trapping formation that Night Sorrow had set up. However, he hadn't broken the 5 bulls formation. Seeing the fox-headed earthly sovereign rush in, the other 3 upper earthly sovereigns also rushed into the formation. At this time, Night Sorrow smiled and activated the 5 bulls formation. In an instant, 5 bull roars rang out from the formation. Chapter 3109. Moo. Me. Ma. Ni. Moo. After 5 intimidating roars, the 4 experts who had rushed over were immediately shaken out of their wits. In a moment, they lost most of their combat strength. How dare you meddle in other people's business and covet the heavenly spirit flower? All of you, die here. The 5 bulls formation took effect. In an instant, Night Sorrow took out his black spear and attacked the 4 people in front of him. The other members of the Cloud Devil team didn't need Night Sorrow to say anything and directly attacked. They had been completely shocked by Night Sorrow's methods. While they were shocked by his methods, they completely chose to submit. With everyone's help, Night Sorrow quickly dealt with the 4 people in front of him. After handing them over to Little Seven to absorb, Night Sorrow and the remaining members of the Cloud Devil team waited patiently for the heavenly spirit flower to bloom. While waiting for the heavenly spirit flower, Night Sorrow realized that as the heavenly spirit flower matured, its fragrance was becoming more and more unconcealable. Not only did this attract groups of cultivators, but it also attracted many powerful evil spirits. With the help of the 5 bulls formation, Night Sorrow didn't refuse any of them and killed them all. Furthermore, he used a very secret method to convert the evil spirits into power of merit and absorb them, further increasing his strength. Finally. 3 years and 2 months after the heavenly spirit flower appeared. The heavenly spirit flower gradually bloomed under everyone's gazes. At this moment, there were no other cultivators or evil spirits around. This made the Cloud Devil team very relaxed. The evil servant who had just been appointed as the vice-captain by Night Sorrow laughed coldly. No one is coming. It seems that the heavenly spirit flower will definitely be ours. It's not ours. It's Captain Night Devil's. After the evil servant finished speaking, someone immediately retorted. Yes, yes, yes. This is Captain Night Devil's. As long as we can drink the soup. After this person finished speaking, the evil servant immediately changed his words and looked at Night Sorrow's face. Don't be restrained, I'm not that arbitrary. Don't worry, I won't treat you unfairly. Night Sorrow definitely wouldn't give up the heavenly spirit flower. He was prepared to distribute some other resources to everyone. It's open. It's open. It has completely blossomed. While Night Sorrow was talking to the members of Team Cloud Devil, the heavenly spirit flower bloomed before their eyes. Very good. I'll go get it. Night Sorrow said as he prepared to take the heavenly spirit flower and put it into his space paradise. However, Bai Mei Sanren suddenly said, Brother Night Sorrow, you can't take it directly. Otherwise, it will wither. Oh. Is there such a thing? Night Sorrow immediately stopped. I've only just thought of this. Firstly, the heavenly spirit flower could be consumed directly, and secondly, it could absorb the land within a radius of 10,000 li. Otherwise, it will wither. Bai Mei Sanren transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. He had heard of this matter in his previous life, but he had only just recalled it now. A land with a circumference of 10,000 miles. How deep does that need to be? Night Sorrow asked curiously. He hadn't expected it to be so troublesome to collect the heavenly spirit flower. 10,000 li. Bai Mei Sanren continued. I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with 10,000 li. Night Sorrow said as he activated the sea serpent's eye to observe the surrounding environment. There were no life-bound beasts around the heavenly spirit flower, so it was easy to take it. However, it would involve some formations and creatures in the small world within a radius of 10,000 li, which was a little troublesome. It's all my fault. I've only just thought of this. If not for this, you would have been able to sweep everything within a radius of 10,000 li in 3 years. Bai Mei Sanren said guiltily. It's already very timely that you've thought of it now. Otherwise, we would have wasted a heavenly treasure. Night Sorrow said as he continued to study everything within a radius of 10,000 li. He hadn't noticed it before looking carefully. Below the heavenly spirit flower, 3,000 li away, there was an ancient coffin hidden. This ancient coffin should be made of some kind of divine stone that completely concealed the aura inside. If not for the sea serpent's eye, Night Sorrow wouldn't have been able to discover it just from the aura. There's an ancient coffin below. It might be troublesome. Night Sorrow didn't collect the heavenly spirit flower, which immediately aroused the doubts of the rest of the Cloud Devil squad. After the evil servant asked, Night Sorrow immediately answered and explained the main points of collecting the heavenly spirit flower. There were no threats within a radius of 10,000 li, but he couldn't sense any aura from this ancient coffin. It was precisely because the ancient coffin was unknown that he didn't dare to directly collect it. He was afraid that there was something hidden inside that was difficult to deal with. An ancient coffin? I'll help the captain check it out. After saying that, the evil servant dived into the ground and approached the ancient coffin. Although the evil servant was reckless, Night Sorrow really needed such a subordinate, so he didn't stop him. He activated the sea serpent's eye and observed. After the evil servant dived into the ground, he quickly approached the stone coffin. However, when he was 100 meters away from the stone coffin, the evil servant suddenly couldn't go any further. He attacked, but he couldn't shake the ancient coffin's defense at all. At that moment, Night Sorrow transmitted a message to him. Don't attack. You can't even break the outer defense. There must be something amazing inside. If you rashly alarm it, we might not be able to afford to offend it. Come up. Yes. Captain. The evil servant looked at the ancient coffin with some reluctance and returned to the ground. I'll go down. Night Sorrow said and dived into the ground. After approaching the stone coffin, he didn't do anything. Instead, he observed the array patterns around the stone coffin. The array formation looked very mysterious. It was impossible to tell if it was good or evil. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow said, "May I know who you are?" "Today, I will collect the heavenly spirit flower. I will collect the stone coffin. If I've disturbed you, please forgive me." After saying that, Night Sorrow returned to the ground and collected everything within a radius of 10,000 li, including the stone coffin. Such a large formation immediately alarmed many cultivators who had come to the small world to look for opportunities. However, these people were all killed by Night Sorrow and the Cloud Devil team, so they didn't pose any threat. In the process of Night Sorrow collecting the heavenly spirit flower, the stone coffin didn't move at all. The aura inside didn't leak out at all. It's somewhat mysterious. Night Sorrow didn't try to attack the array patterns around the stone coffin, but he was sure that he couldn't shake it. So he ignored it. The heavenly spirit flower is in our hands. Let's return to Cloud Breath City. After collecting the heavenly spirit flower, Night Sorrow took out a lot of good things and distributed them to everyone in the Cloud Devil territory. They were very satisfied. Following that, Night Sorrow brought everyone back to the Cloud Devil team's encampment. Just as they arrived at the encampment, Night Sorrow found someone waiting there. This person was the messenger from the Cloud Breath mining area. Seeing that Cloud Devil wasn't around, this person arrogantly asked, "Where's Cloud Devil? Let him come out and talk." Captain Cloud Devil has already died in the small world. Now, Night Devil is our new captain. After the messenger finished speaking, the evil servant opened his mouth and said. These words were what they had studied in the small world. Stealing incense. Chapter 31:10. What? Cloud Demon is dead? Hearing the evil servant's words, the emissary's face turned even gloomier. Then, he said disdainfully, "Cloud Demon is dead. What's the use of the rest of you? Quickly disband. How unlucky. If I had known, I wouldn't have made this trip." After muttering to himself, he prepared to leave. "Lord Emissary, if there's anything, you can tell me. If Cloud Demon can do it, the current Cloud Demon team can do it too." At this moment, seeing that he was about to leave, Night Sorrow immediately spoke. "You can do it? With your strength as a sovereign, you can't even defend against the fog in the mining area. What can you do?" The emissary of Cloud Breath mining area looked at Night Sorrow and said disdainfully. "Lord Emissary, if I didn't have the strength, do you think they would let me be the team leader?" Night Sorrow pointed at the evil servant and said, "Since they let me be the team leader and didn't let Cloud Demon team disband, this proves that I'm not inferior to Cloud Demon. Otherwise, once Cloud Demon is dead, we would have disbanded long ago." "Oh. You mean you have the ability to fight across realms?" Looking at Night Sorrow, the emissary of Cloud Breath mining area squinted his eyes and asked. "Of course. Cloud Demon is no match for me." Night Sorrow continued. He had to enter Cloud Breath mining area. After all, he had already promised to save Chen Xinyan's wife. Haha. Cloud Demon is no match for you. Cloud Demon is an upper earthly sovereign and his strength is not inferior to mine. Not a match for you? Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? The emissary of Cloud Breath mining area snorted in disbelief and continued, "Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue?" He didn't believe Night Sorrow's words at all and thought that he was bragging. Since Lord Emissary doesn't believe it, then let's have a spar, right? Whether my strength is enough or not, you will know once you try. Night Sorrow stretched out his hand and made a "please" gesture, directly challenging him. "Humph. You can challenge me. But I can't control my strength. If you die in my hands, no one will take responsibility. When the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy heard Night Sorrow's challenge, he immediately sneered. Then please enlighten me, Lord Envoy. Night Sorrow was clear that if he did not prove his strength, it would not do. At this time, the other members of the Cloud Devil Squad all reminded Night Sorrow that the emissary was very strong, much stronger than the Cloud Devil. Tell Night Sorrow to pay attention. Yi Shang smiled at this and said, "It's fine. He's no threat to me." He didn't transmit his voice at all. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the envoy from Cloud Breath Mining Area was completely enraged. Originally, he was just a little arrogant, but now, his entire body was filled with a dense killing intent. He roared, "You dare to provoke me? Die. An icy cold night. Kill." After the Cloud Breath Mining Area's emissary shouted those words, the surrounding environment immediately turned into an ice-cold night under his control. At the same time, the surrounding flowers, plants, and trees were all sealed by ice. In front of Night Sorrow's eyes, there were already no more members of the Cloud Devil Squad. He was clear that this was the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy's divine realm. He immediately used the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe. With one look, he discovered that the other party's divine realm was indeed a little something. The surrounding environment was sealed by his divine realm. The flowers, plants, and trees were indeed already sealed in ice. It was not an illusion. Being inside this divine realm, he discovered that his divine essence energy was not revolving very smoothly. His combat strength was affected to a certain extent. Except, after Night Sorrow released his own divine realm, this stifling feeling instantly vanished into thin air. Die. Just as Night Sorrow was observing the divine realm in front of him, the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy suddenly roared loudly and rushed over from Night Sorrow's flank. Using a battle halberd, he directly stabbed toward his head. Just this level of attack and you also want to kill me? Facing the envoy's battle halberd, Night Sorrow took out the black spear, revolved divine essence energy, and fired out a divine spear. The attack power of this spear was on par with the divine finger. After clashing with the envoy's battle halberd, it immediately sent the latter's battle halberd flying. The Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy also directly flew out horizontally. His divine realm was not as powerful as Night Sorrow's divine realm at all and was easily resolved. At the same time, Night Sorrow's divine spear was also much stronger than his ordinary attack. If not for Night Sorrow holding back, there would probably be an additional hole in his body. This is impossible. A middle-rank sovereign has this kind of strength? The Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy, who had always looked down on Night Sorrow in his heart, had a look of disbelief after flying out. He completely did not expect that Night Sorrow could unleash such an attack. Lord Envoy. I said before, my strength is stronger than Cloud Devil. Now, do you believe me? Night Sorrow gave the evil servant a glance and made him help the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy up. After being helped up by the evil servant, the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy had a look of rage. Glancing at Night Sorrow, he said, "Again. Again? Wasn't that enough to prove my strength earlier?" Night Sorrow, who had been smiling all along, had his face completely darkened. "I want you to die." As the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy roared, he took out a token and let it float in the void. This is the Cloud Breath token. Seeing the token is equivalent to seeing the Cloud Breath Heavenly Sovereign himself. Seeing the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy take out the Cloud Breath token, the evil servant immediately exclaimed in shock. In Cloud Breath City, the Cloud Breath token was incredible. It was equivalent to an imperial sword that no one dared to resist. Cloud Breath token, what do you mean? Night Sorrow did not know what the Cloud Breath token was and asked doubtfully. The Cloud Breath token can't. The evil servant immediately explained the Cloud Breath token to Night Sorrow. In Cloud Breath Mining Area, there were only a total of 64 envoys who possessed the Cloud Breath token. Every single one of them had a very high status in Cloud Breath City. This envoy in front of him was clearly the same. Now that you know what the Cloud Breath token is, why aren't you obediently accepting your death? How dare you offend me, the envoy? How dare you? After the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy took out the Cloud Breath token, his expression turned even more sinister. He looked as though he was destined to kill someone. I respect Lord Cloud Breath, so I'll give you some face. Don't be so shameless. If you continue to pester me endlessly, even Lord Cloud Breath won't be able to save you, let alone the Cloud Breath token. Facing the envoy with the Cloud Breath token, Night Sorrow was not afraid at all and said coldly. Aunt. Not only did you offend me, the envoy, but you even dare to be disrespectful to my lord. Accept your death. When the Cloud Breath Mining Area's envoy saw that Night Sorrow had no intention of submitting to him, he immediately threw the Cloud Breath token at Night Sorrow. Initially, he only wanted to use the Cloud Breath token as a deterrent. However, Night Sorrow did not indulge him at all, which made him extremely displeased. Accept my death? You're the one who deserves to die. Against the Cloud Breath token, Night Sorrow fired a shot without hesitation. Clan M. Chapter 31:11. Bastard. How dare you attack the Cloud Breath token? This is treason. Seeing that Night Sorrow actually dared to attack the Cloud Breath token, the envoy of the Cloud Breath Mining Area roared furiously. What? You want to kill me? Can't I kill you? Let me tell you, those who provoke me, Night Devil, will definitely die. Night Sorrow roared and used his black spear to smash the Cloud Breath token away. At the same time, he shot at the envoy in front of him, wanting to kill him directly. Captain. You can't. You can't kill the envoy of the Cloud Breath Mining Area. Otherwise, you will attract Lord Cloud Breath's revenge. Seeing that Night Sorrow wanted to kill the envoy, the evil servant immediately tried to dissuade him. This trash wants to kill me. How can I let him live? Night Sorrow looked like a devil incarnate. As he spoke, he attacked the envoy again. Seeing that the Cloud Breath token was unable to suppress Night Sorrow, the envoy's expression completely changed. The arrogance on his face disappeared and was replaced with a smile. He said humbly, Captain Night Devil. This emissary was just testing you. To see if you have the ability. Now that you have passed the test, it proves that the current Cloud Devil team can still accept missions. Why don't we discuss the mission, how about it? Looking at your personality, you are also someone who seeks revenge for the smallest grievance. If I let you go now, you might find someone to deal with me later. I, Night Devil, might as well kill you directly and leave Cloud Breath City immediately. As he spoke, Night Sorrow's black spear was already close to the other party. In fact, he was deliberately controlling his speed. Otherwise, the black spear would have already pierced through the other party. A little impatience spoils great plans. He naturally wouldn't lose control to the point of losing control of his killing intent. His current performance was just to intimidate the envoy in front of him. And his performance had indeed made the envoy of the Cloud Breath Mining Area completely speechless. When the envoy heard Night Sorrow's words, he continued, I can swear that I will cooperate with you from now on. I will definitely not target you or anyone in the Cloud Devil team. Captain. Let the envoy go. After the envoy said this, the Cloud Devil team immediately tried to persuade him. To them, killing the emissary of Yinshi Mining Area was a huge mistake. They didn't have the guts. Yes. As the saying goes, it's better to squash enmity than keep it alive. Captain, please let Lord Envoy go. This is also good for us. The evil servant also tried to persuade him. At this moment, the emissary of Cloud Breath Mining Area continued, that's right. Captain Night Demon, please calm down. His tone was already very soft. He was basically begging for mercy. Yes. Swear it. This matter was considered over. Don't cause trouble for my Cloud Demon squad in other ways. Otherwise, I have 100 ways to kill you. Night Sorrow looked at the emissary from Cloud Breath Mining Area and said coldly. Hearing this, the envoy of the cloud breath mining area immediately stood up and said gratefully, Captain Night Demon, don't worry. In the future, we will definitely cooperate well and strive for a win-win situation. I am the 37th envoy of cloud breath mining area. In the future, Captain Night Demon can just call me 37. 37? Good. I'll call you 37 from now on. Night Sorrow said before continuing, tell me the details of your cooperation with the Cloud Devil. All right. This isn't a secret. Our cooperation will be split 3 to 7. 7 Cloud Devil, will be the third. But if we cooperate, we can split it 50 to 50. As number 37 spoke, he adjusted the ratio of the shares. Hearing this, Night Sorrow smiled and said, you don't do anything and are just an errand boy. You want to get 50%, your appetite is too big. How about this? In the future, Cloud Demon Squad will get 70% and you will get 30%. That's settled. That's not too good. I still have to bribe the higher-ups. If not, how can we secretly transport the blackthorn crystals out? 37 said with a frown. After he said this, the evil servant said, Captain Night Demon, that's indeed the case. If we don't clear it, we won't be able to leave Cloud Breath mining area normally after we finish mining. Oh. Even if we keep things in the Grotto Heaven, it will be detected? Night Sorrow asked doubtfully. 37 and the evil servant's words sounded an alarm for him. Yes. Cloud Breath mining area has an extremely mysterious array that can detect everything on a cultivator. It can't even keep things in the Grotto Heaven. The evil servant said with certainty. Then I've been rash. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow looked at 37 and said, since that's the case, let's split it 50 to 50. But you have to guarantee that we can enter safely. Don't worry. Money makes the world go round. As long as the higher-ups in charge of controlling the array get benefits, they won't check on us. As for Cloud Breath Lord, he doesn't care about the mining area at all. So there won't be any problems. 37 promised solemnly. Alright, then it's settled. I wonder when Cloud Breath mining area will give out the mission. Night Sorrow looked at him and asked. At this moment, 37 gradually relaxed and looked at Night Sorrow. I'm here to give out the mission. If you don't have anything else, you can follow me into Cloud Breath mining area now. Recently, Cloud Breath mining area discovered a huge mine. If there are no accidents, we will have a good harvest. Very good. Then let's move out immediately. Night Sorrow said and continued, but my Cloud Devil team only has these people in front of us. The others might not be reliable. As for entering and exiting Cloud Breath mining area for inspection, he still wasn't sure but he didn't show it. Yes. Yes. The key to doing this is that the people are reliable and there won't be any accidents. Everyone, follow me. After saying that, 37 led Night Sorrow and the rest to Cloud Breath mining area. When they reached the entrance of Cloud Breath mining area, he opened the door and not long after, Night Sorrow and the rest were brought into the mining area. The inspection array wasn't activated at all, so it naturally didn't have any effect. Night Sorrow also successfully brought Bai Mei Sanren, Chin Chinyun, Evil Spirit Clone and the rest in. After entering the mining area, 37 flew in front of everyone and led them to a mining area commander. He pointed at Night Sorrow and said, "This is the new leader of Cloud Devil Team, Night Devil. He's very reliable. All right. Leave him to me. You can continue to look for people." This commander directly let 37 leave and then looked at Night Sorrow and said, "I'm one of the 10 commanders of Cloud Breath mining area, called Yunmo. Let's not talk nonsense. I'll bring you to the mining area in a while. You can do your best to mine the mines. But when you leave the mining area, you have to hand over 60% of it to me. Do you understand, 60%? Commander Yunmo, didn't you take 40% in the past?" After Yunmo spoke, the evil servant immediately asked doubtfully. "Bastard. I'm talking to Captain Night Devil. Who do you think you are to interrupt? After the evil servant spoke, Yunmo immediately shouted angrily. Obviously, he was angry. Clan M. Chapter 31:12. Heretic, transmit your voice to me about the rules in the past. After Yunmo opened his mouth, the heretic immediately shut up. The current him indeed should not butt in. At this time, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to him, asking about the rules in the past. In reality, Night Sorrow was also putting on an act to make the show more realistic. After all, his true objective was to come and rescue Qin Xinyan's wife, Yang Fan. Following that, the heretic recounted all of the past events. After listening, Night Sorrow looked at Yunmo and said, Commander Yunmo, Night Devil has just arrived. Hope that you take care of him. As for the share, let's split 50-50. What do you think? I said 6-4, then it's 6-4. Don't you understand? Well, Yunmo had a tough look. Who are you berating? Hearing Yunmo's words, Night Sorrow's expression immediately turned cold. At the same time, he released his divine realm. Originally, he wanted to resolve this matter in front of him properly. But staying in the fog area for a long time, his temper was naturally very great. Unconsciously, he burst out. So what if I berated you? Could it be that you all, these mercenaries, still want to take action in Cloud Breath mining area? Yunmo looked at Night Sorrow with a disdainful look. That appearance was simply identical to 37. Taking Yunmo's performance into his sights, Night Sorrow said with a cold smile, 37 thought the same as you earlier. Now, he's also well behaved. I think that you want to be the same as him and undergo a transformation. Are you provoking this commander here? Don't want to live anymore, is it? Yunmo naturally discerned Night Sorrow's intention of wanting to take action. Similarly, the heretic and the rest also discerned it and immediately started mediating. To them, Cloud Breath mining area was absolutely a leviathan and could not be easily offended. It was fine if Night Sorrow made a move against 37. At this time, he was also preparing to take action in Cloud Breath mining area. This scared them badly. You all don't need to be afraid. Making a living in the fog area, it all depends on strength to speak. We're not afraid of him. Night Sorrow said a sentence to the few people under him, then looked at Yunmo and said, So what if I provoke you? Bastard. Courting death. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Yunmo immediately threw a punch at him. He was so angry that he didn't even summon his divine artifact. He wanted to punch Night Sorrow to death. But, how could this be? Although Yunmo was considered strong among the upper earthly sovereigns, he was still lacking compared to Night Sorrow. At the same time, Night Sorrow also threw a punch. They collided head-on with each other. Boom! Yunmo's body was directly sent flying out. He crawled a few times before he finally got up. At this time, Yunmo said furiously, Fine. Very good. At the same time, he began to summon his subordinates. Not long after, more than 30 armored warriors were summoned. These armored soldiers were all Yunmo's subordinates and were usually in charge of supervising the work. They were all at the level of earthly sovereigns. There were lower earthly sovereigns and middle earthly sovereigns. Kill all of them. After summoning the armored soldiers, Yunmo ordered. Obviously, he felt that he had been greatly offended. Who dares to stop me? Hearing Yunmo's words, Night Sorrow immediately used the 33 Heavens Battle Mystic technique. Holding the black spear in his hand, he attacked Yunmo. Seeing him attack, Yunmo's subordinates naturally stepped in to stop him. Facing these people, Night Sorrow directly summoned the evil spirit doppelganger and used the Qingxian godly spear technique to kill them. Not long after, he was in front of Yunmo. At this time, not only was Yunmo dumbfounded, but everyone in Yunmo's team was also dumbfounded. They didn't expect Night Sorrow to be so strong. Especially the evil spirit doppelganger that he summoned, the heavenly sovereign aura completely stunned everyone in front of him. Without heavenly sovereign Yun Shi here, you are nothing. I didn't want to fight with you and just wanted to mine and earn some blackthorn crystals, but you just had to provoke me. Standing in front of Yunmo, Night Sorrow roared and pierced his chest with his spear. The evil spirit doppelganger blocked Yunmo's subordinates and instantly took control of the situation. How dare you! I will definitely report today's matter to Heavenly Sovereign Yunshi. Just wait to be completely destroyed. Looking at Night Sorrow and then at the evil spirit doppelganger, Yunmo shouted in rage. At this time, he felt too humiliated, but he was already completely controlled by Night Sorrow. He even lost the ability to take out the voice transmission stone. Always using Heavenly Sovereign Yunshi to suppress others. Could it be that without Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath, you are a complete piece of trash? Night Sorrow controlled the evil spirit doppelganger to say this. At this time, everyone present didn't know that he was Night Sorrow's doppelganger. They thought that he was Night Sorrow's helper behind the scenes. He is a piece of trash, and a greedy piece of trash. Yi Shang, on the other hand, had Yunmo completely under his control. He ordered, call all of your miners here. Make them listen to my control. The aura that Night Sorrow displayed was clearly that he wanted to do something big. In reality, he wanted to see if Qin Xinyan's wife, Yang Fan, was among Yunmo's subordinates. Stop dreaming. Heavenly Sovereign Yunshi will not let you off. In Yunmo's opinion, Night Sorrow wanted to directly let his subordinates mine and then take it for himself. Under such circumstances, he sternly refused. I think you won't cry until you see the coffin. Originally, Night Sorrow's plan was to slowly search for Yang Fan after entering the mining area. However, during the confrontation with Yunmo, he suddenly had the idea of domineering and investigating. He thought to himself that since Heavenly Sovereign Yunshi wasn't here, no one could defeat the evil spirit doppelganger. Doing so could be considered acting according to the situation and wouldn't expose his true motive. Furthermore, he felt that these commanders would usually not alarm Heavenly Sovereign Yunshi and let him come personally. After all, there was a lot of profit in this cloud breath mining area. Their butts were not clean. If those things were exposed because of this matter, the gains would not make up for the losses. Therefore, even if he suffered a loss, Yunmo should also swallow it down. While talking, Night Sorrow directly chopped off Yunmo's left hand. He said, are you going to do it or not? If you're not willing to do it 50-50, I'll make you not even get 10%. Not even a single blackthorn crystal. I won't do it. If you have the capability, kill me. Yunmo's mouth was very stubborn, but at this time, Night Sorrow attacked again and chopped off his right hand again. Following that, he simply ignored Yunmo. Looking at Yunmo's subordinates, he said, you guys go and find all the people below. From today onwards, Yunmo, this person no longer exists. However, your share will be doubled. Do as I say, and you guys won't be shortchanged. Yunmo was incomparably greedy. Night Sorrow judged that his subordinates should have been squeezed dry by him too. It should not be hard to persuade. This commander wants to see who dares to rebel. After Night Sorrow spoke, Yunmo shouted again. His shout was still very intimidating. The armored soldiers who were originally somewhat restless all became well-behaved. What are you all paying attention to a dead person for? At this time, Night Sorrow swept the black spear horizontally, directly piercing through Yunmo's dantian and crushing his divine soul. After that, he said, Yunmo is already dead. You guys can go and do what you should do now. Heavenly Sovereign Yunshi isn't here, let's all get rich together. Clan M. Chapter 31:13. Commander Mo Yun has actually been killed. What should we do? Witnessing the scene of Yunmo being killed with their own eyes, some of the soldiers present were instantly stunned. To them, the 10 commanders were the heavens of Cloud Breath mining area when Cloud Breath Heavenly Sovereign was not around. At this moment, Yunmo, one of the 10 commanders, was actually killed directly. This was a huge matter that pierced through the heavens. No one present could calm down their emotions. You just have to follow me. Yunmo is dead. Our chance has come. Everyone, go and gather all of Yunmo's subordinates here. We will divide the work again. Night Sorrow roared and got the Cloud Demon team to supervise Yunmo's subordinates and make them swear not to betray him. Under the control of the Cloud Demon team, Yunmo's subordinates quickly obeyed. They also began to organize and gather everyone here. Soon, about 1/10 of the people in Cloud Breath mining area were gathered. Among these people, there was the team that Yunmo had contacted and the enslaved miners of Cloud Breath mining area. Seeing them appear, Night Sorrow did not waste any time and got Chen Qingyun to search for his wife, Yang Fan. However, after looking through everyone, Chen Qingyun said disappointedly, "My wife is not among them." "All right. Let's let them work steadily first. After all, these blackthorn crystals are good stuff in the fog. We can get more of them." Night Sorrow was slightly disappointed when he heard that Yang Fan's whereabouts were not among them. However, this was only about 1/10 of the people in Cloud Breath mining area. It was normal that she was not among them. He thought for a moment and asked, "Do you have a list of names of the miners here?" "Yes. Commander Yunmo has it." After Night Sorrow finished asking, one of the soldiers in Cloud Breath mining area spoke up. "All right. Let me take a look." Night Sorrow found Yunmo's interspatial ring from his corpse and started to look for the list of names. However, after using his divine will and the interspatial ring, Night Sorrow discovered a large number of blackthorn crystals. He estimated that there were about 30 million of them. Furthermore, there were some that were obviously of better quality than normal blackthorn crystals. Piled together, they looked crystal clear and gave off a faint black light. As expected of one of the commanders of Cloud Breath mining area. He really has a lot of blackthorn crystals on him. Night Sorrow sighed and continued to search for the name list. Soon, he found it. On the roster, every miner had a name and a number. After checking, Yang Fan was indeed not among them. Are these miners usually called by numbers? After confirming that Yunmo did not have Yang Fan under him, Night Sorrow immediately summoned one of Yunmo's soldiers and asked. "Yes, Lord Night Demon." The armored soldier replied. "In the mining area, how can you find someone by name?" Night Sorrow looked at him and asked. As for how to find Yang Fan, he was constantly thinking of ways to do so. Lord Night Demon. If they wanted to find out about a person by name, they could only go through the roster in the hands of the commanders. That's because everyone usually addresses each other with numbers. No one uses their names here. The armored soldier replied and asked, "Lord Night Demon, are you looking for someone in the mine?" "Yes. I want to save a friend." Night Sorrow replied. He had no intention of hiding this matter. Because these armored soldiers in front of him could be controlled by him. If Lord simply wants to save a person, I have a way. This armored soldier, upon hearing a definite answer, immediately continued. "Oh. What is it? Say it. If it's effective, I'll reward you with 1,000,000 blackthorn crystals." Night Sorrow looked at this armored soldier and said slowly. "It's actually very simple. As long as Lord is willing to fork out enough blackthorn crystals, you can naturally buy it from the other commanders. In Cloud Breath mining area, there's a special existence. He can contact any commander. As long as he helps, it should be easy to complete this matter." The armored soldier looked at Yi Shang and enunciated each word clearly. "Oh. Who is the person you're talking about? Where is he?" Night Sorrow asked. To him, dealing with one person was definitely easier than dealing with the entire Cloud Breath mining area. Now that he had entered Cloud Breath mining area and controlled Yunmo's businesses, he wanted to temporarily suppress this matter. At the same time, he wanted to find Yang Fan. At that time, he would bring the person and the blackthorn crystals away. According to his estimation, these commanders of Cloud Breath mining area should not wish for Lord Cloud Breath to descend. Therefore, if the matter did not escalate, they would not summon him. After Night Shang asked, the armored soldier replied, "Lord Night Demon, I'm not going to give you a reply. This person is the patrol inspector of the mining area." The patrol inspector, also known as the Mobile Patrol Inspector, checks the various commanders on behalf of Lord Cloud Breath. However, he's extremely greedy and has long been bribed by the various commanders to wear the same pants as them. How can I contact this patrol inspector? Night Sorrow immediately asked. Very simple, Commander Yun has a voice transmission stone to contact him. You can find him if you look carefully. After the armored soldier finished speaking, he continued, however, it's best if you don't tell him that you killed Lord Cloud Breath. If he knows about this matter, he might report it to Lord Cloud Breath. You mean to trick him into coming here? How do I do that? Night Sorrow looked at the other party and asked. Simple. He loves money. Just say that there's a mutated blackthorn crystal in Commander Yunmo's mining area. Commander Mo Yun is already rushing over. You just have to inform him and trick him over. The armored soldier said with a smile on his face. You can do it. After the armored soldier finished speaking, Night Sorrow's face revealed a trace of a smile. Then, he found Yunmo's voice transmission stone and communicated with the patrol inspector. This patrol inspector was called Yunlan. Night Sorrow did not say much and he was persuaded. He did not think that this was a scam at all. After communicating with Patrol Inspector Yunlan, Night Sorrow looked at the armored soldier in front of him and handed him a spatial ring, saying, You're a talent. This is a reward of 1 million, take it. This lowly one is afraid and does not dare to take Sir's things. Seeing Night Sorrow hand over the spatial ring, the armored soldier immediately knelt on the ground, not daring to take it at all. Haha. Don't be afraid. I said to let everyone get rich together, so we'll get rich together. I'm not testing you. Night Sorrow said a sentence and handed over the spatial ring in his hand again. This time, the armored soldier received the spatial ring in a state of panic. Using divine essence energy to check, indeed, he discovered no less than 1 million blackthorn crystals in the spatial ring. He immediately knelt on the ground and said gratefully, Many thanks for Sir's gift. In the future, I'll follow Sir everywhere. Yunmo's token, I'll hand it to you. You go and manage the people below well. Although Yunmo is dead, the mine still needs to be mined normally. Night Sorrow handed Yunmo's token to the armored soldier and waited for Patrol Inspector Yunlan's arrival with peace of mind. Chapter 31:14. About 2 hours later, Patrol Inspector Yunlan rode a chariot pulled by 9 black dragons and arrived at Commander Yunmo's base. He shouted, Where is Yunmo? Commander Yunmo has already headed to the mining area. I will bring you there now. After Yunlan arrived with 4 subordinates, the soldier who had raised his opinion with Night Sorrow immediately said. At this moment, Night Sorrow was disguised as a soldier and standing behind him. This was something the two of them had discussed. Because Night Sorrow was a stranger and was not familiar with Yunshi mining area, he could not take on the task of leading the way. Hearing this, Yunlan narrowed his eyes and said, All right. Bring me there. All right. Patrol Inspector, please follow me. The soldier said and led the patrol inspector to the mining cave they had agreed on in advance. Night Sorrow had already set up the 5 bulls formation in that mining cave. This was his precautionary measure. To prevent a battle with the patrol inspector from causing too much of a commotion and alarming too many people. Night Sorrow himself followed the team obediently. He did not send a voice transmission to anyone, afraid of alerting the enemy. How much longer to reach? The team moved forward together for a while before Patrol Inspector Yunlan suddenly asked. At this moment, he stood on the 9 dragons' chariot and looked a little like an emperor patrolling the world, a little domineering. Reporting to the patrol inspector, It's just ahead. We will be there soon. The nameless soldier replied humbly and continued to lead the way. At this moment, Patrol Inspector Yunlan asked again, Why didn't you send a voice transmission to Yunmo when I arrived? Could it be that something happened? Lord Patrol Inspector, you must be joking. Commander Yunmo is in his own territory. What accident could happen? The nameless soldier replied calmly, It's just that the material of the mining cave below is very special and blocks voice transmissions. There's no way to contact him at all. This soldier's reaction is really extraordinary. Knight Sorrow saw this soldier's performance and thought to himself, when I leave, I can use the power of merit to purify him. Keeping him by my side will definitely be of some use. At the same time, Knight Sorrow felt that when his strength was stronger, he could purify more experts in the fog area. When the time came, he would have them help the Eternal Paragon realm in battle. After all, compared to the foggy region, the Eternal Supreme World had far too few experts. While Knight Sorrow was thinking, Yunlan nodded. Clearly, he believed the unknown soldier's words. He had no idea that this nameless soldier in front of him was even more shrewd than him. Lord Patrol Inspector, we've arrived at the mine. The mutated blackthorn crystal was found at the bottom of the mine. At this moment, Commander Mo Yun was personally supervising the work below. You should know the value of a mutated blackthorn crystal. Commander Yun Mo is worried about this thing. At the entrance of the mine, the nameless soldier continued to speak respectfully. Not a single flaw could be seen on him. What a talent. Knight Sorrow, who was standing in the middle of the group, watched the performance of the nameless soldier and snickered in his heart. If he had not known the entire plan in advance, even he would have been fooled by this nameless soldier. Patrolling Inspector Yunlan naturally did not notice anything amiss. With his 4 subordinates, he followed behind the nameless soldier and entered the mine one after another. This matter is done. Seeing Yunlan follow behind the nameless soldier and enter the mine, Knight Sorrow immediately transmitted his voice to Qin Qingyun. He knew the power of the 5 Bulls formation. Although Patrolling Inspector Yunlan's strength was basically that of a half-step Sky Supreme, he should not be able to break the 5 Bulls formation. He would be controlled very soon. As long as he could control him, he could contact the other 9 commanders and exchange Qin Qingyun's wife back. Thank you, Brother Yi, for your care. I can't thank you enough. Qin Yun will definitely sacrifice his life for you. Qin Qingyun also knew the power of the 5 Bulls formation. His voice was trembling as he transmitted his voice. At this moment, the nameless soldier transmitted his voice to Knight Sorrow, Lord Night Demon. What do we do next? Do we attack directly? When he said this, he was extremely calm, as if nothing had happened. I'll do it in a while. You've done well in this matter. I still have rewards. Knight Sorrow said and followed into the mine to activate the 5 Bulls formation. Not good. This is a trap. The moment the 5 Bulls formation was activated, Patrolling Inspector Yunlan shouted. It's too late for you to know that it's a trap. Once you enter this formation, you'll only be at my mercy. At this moment, Knight Sorrow slowly walked to the nameless soldier and looked at Yunlan. Who are you? Patrolling Inspector Yunlan looked coldly at Knight Sorrow. At this moment, the formation had not completely launched its attack, but he could feel the energy fluctuations in the formation. He knew that this formation was not simple. You don't have to care who I am. As long as you listen to my instructions and help me do one thing, I can guarantee your safety. Knight Sorrow said coldly. How dare you threaten me, a patrolling inspector? I think you're tired of living. After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, Yunlan's face immediately revealed a cold smile. Then, he took out a disc-like divine weapon and said, This is a divine weapon that Lord Yun Shi gave me. It's specially used to break all kinds of seals. Let's see if your formation can trap me for more than 10 breaths. Obviously, it was impossible to make him give up without resisting. Originally, you didn't have to suffer any pain. But now, you'll at least lose half your life. Knight Sorrow also knew that the other party would not give up until he saw the coffin. He directly activated the 5 Bulls formation. Mu. Mi. Ma. Ni. Ho. After the 5 Bulls formation was activated, it immediately let out 5 roars that could tear one's soul. The divine weapon in Patrolling Inspector Yunlan's hands was very powerful, but he used it to break formations. It could not be used to defend against soul attacks. After the 5 bull roars sounded, Yunlan, who was originally floating in the void, was immediately shaken to the ground. What kind of formation is this? Yun Lan, who had fallen to the ground, had a look of disbelief. He had never encountered such a formation that targeted the soul. For a moment, his spirit ocean was shaken, and he could not control his emotions. Even the divine weapon that he threw out was out of control. This is a formation that can destroy you. After Yun Lan muttered, Night Sorrow responded and rushed into the formation with the black spear in hand. He directly launched an attack. The current Yun Lan's soul was unstable and did not have any combat strength at all. In a moment, Night Sorrow subdued Yun Lan and his 4 subordinates. After handing Yun Lan's 4 subordinates to the armored soldiers, Night Sorrow looked at Yun Lan and said, "Now, can you cooperate with me?" The discovery of this matter was as smooth as he had expected. Night Sorrow was in a good mood. "What do you want me to do?" "I won't do anything to betray Lord Cloud Breath." Yun Lan frowned and shouted. Night Sorrow looked at him and said, "It has nothing to do with Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath. I want to find someone in Cloud Breath mining area. This person's name is Yang Fan, and she's a female cultivator. I need you to help me contact all the commanders in the mining area. Clan M." Chapter 31:15. Is that all you need me to do? When Patrol Inspector Yun Lan heard this, he was astonished. He originally thought that Night Sorrow would capture him and force him to do something big. "That's right. That's it, and I won't let you do it for free. Once it's done, I'll give you 10 million blackthorn stones." Night Sorrow looked at Yun Lan and said. This 10 million blackthorn stones was naturally not just for rescuing Yang Fan. It was also for him to buy passage. He was prepared to earn a huge sum from Cloud Breath mining area after this matter was over, and then let Patrol Inspector Yun Lan bring him out. From then on, he would be free to swim in the sea, and free to fly in the sky. Such a small matter, you can just say it directly, why do you need to do it? After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Patrol Inspector Yun Lan's face revealed a trace of a smile, then rubbed his hands and said, "It's with me. There's nothing that the blackthorn stones can't solve. I'll give you the blackthorn stones first." Night Sorrow said and handed the 10 million blackthorn stones to Yun Lan. Then he said, "But before you do it, you can't leave here. As for that divine artifact, you can keep it." "Well said." As Yun Lan spoke, he summoned a temporary palace from the spirit formation. He welcomed Night Sorrow in and invited him to sit down, saying, "Don't worry. What you said is a small matter. I'll do it for you now. Do it immediately." Night Sorrow sat in Yun Lan's palace and stared at him. He could tell that Yun Lan wasn't faking it, but was really bribed by the blackthorn stones. 10 million blackthorn stones wasn't a small amount. Yun Lan was really moved. "I'll do it now." Yun Lan smiled. He took out a sound transmission stone and transmitted his voice to the 9 leaders, telling them about Yang Fan. This Yang Fan was the love of Chen Xinyan's heart, but in Cloud Breath mining area, he was just one of the most unremarkable miners, not important at all. Not long later, Yun Lan asked about 3 Yang Fans. But 2 of them were male practitioners, thus he locked onto the only female practitioner. After confirming the target, Yun Lan told Night Sorrow about this matter, and then asked, "Since the female practitioner has been found, do you want to directly use the blackthorn stone to exchange? How much blackthorn stone do you think is suitable for the exchange?" Night Sorrow looked into Yun Lan's eyes and asked. "Yes. Generally, these miners weren't worth much. A few 100,000 blackthorn stones would suffice. However, we specifically asked for Yang Fan. The 7th commander will definitely stop us. Roughly 2 million blackthorn stones." Yun Lan looked at Night Sorrow and said. Hearing this, Night Sorrow pondered for a moment and said, "I'll give you 3 million blackthorn stones, and you'll settle the matter immediately. Is there a problem?" "No problem. No problem." Patrol Inspector Yun Lan beamed with joy and continued to communicate with Commander Number 7. In the end, he used 1.5 million blackthorn stones to buy Yang Fan back. When Yang Fan arrived, Chen Qingyun burst into tears the moment she saw him. This was indeed his wife. At this moment, Yang Fan was also a half-step earthly sovereign like him. Because he had been mining all year round, he was a little weak. The fog on his body was extremely dense, and he had almost lost consciousness. It's good that she's your wife. After Chen Qingyun confirmed Yang Fan's identity, Night Sorrow kept him in the space hollow. Naturally, he wouldn't use the power of merit to save him in front of so many people. At this moment, Patrol Inspector Yun Lan smiled and said, "Brother Night Demon, the matter has been settled. Can you let me go now?" "I can let you go. However, you have to bring me out of the cloud breath mining area first. After the matter is settled, I'll give you more blackthorn stones." Night Sorrow looked at Yun Lan and said. Hearing this, Yun Lan smiled again and said, "Brother Night Demon is so generous. Admirable, admirable." His attitude was rather good. However, Night Sorrow and Yun Lan had just left the mine. The evil servant transmitted a message to Night Sorrow, "Lord Night Demon. We really found a mutated blackthorn crystal here." "What? You really found it?" "Wait, I'll be there soon." Yi Shang replied via voice transmission, then looked at Yun Lan and said, "What a coincidence. We found a mutated blackthorn crystal mine. Let's go take a look before leaving." He didn't avoid the other party, because Yun Lan was still under his control. Mutated blackthorn crystal mine? That's a rare treasure. Hearing this, Yun Lan immediately opened his eyes wide. He naturally wanted a share of the loot. He couldn't help but have other thoughts in his mind. Regarding this, Night Sorrow sneered and said, "If you don't have any evil thoughts, I'll share some with you. Otherwise, your divine soul will be destroyed. I'll follow Brother Night Demon's arrangements." Patrol Inspector Yun Lan said in a low voice, but in his heart, he was thinking about what to do. At this moment, he was under Night Sorrow's control, and it was indeed not easy to resist. Enter my Kong Tian Grotto heaven first. When they reached the mine where the mutated blackthorn crystal mine was, Night Sorrow kept Yun Lan and his 4 subordinates into the space hollow. Then, he used the sea serpent's eye to observe the things in the mine. He didn't have 100% trust in the evil spirit, so he didn't rashly enter the mine. Looking inside, Night Sorrow indeed saw some mutated blackthorn crystal mine. At this moment, the evil spirit was digging for it. After confirming this matter, Night Sorrow slowly entered the mine. As the excavation progressed, Night Sorrow and everyone present couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. They secretly said, "I'm afraid this matter has blown up." It turned out that the blackthorn crystal mine discovered this time wasn't a simple mine, but a blackthorn crystal mine. This blackthorn crystal mine was like a black dragon, lying horizontally underground. This seems to be a living blackthorn crystal mine. If it's refined as a whole, it should be able to refine a top heavenly supreme divine artifact, second only to an ultimate divine artifact. However, to collect it as a whole, it should be something that only a heavenly supreme can do. When Yun Lan, who was in Night Sorrow's space hollow, discovered this blackthorn crystal mine, his eyes were wide open. Because the value of this mutated blackthorn crystal mine in front of him was really too high. Even Heavenly Supreme Yun Shi didn't have it. "Is it so difficult to collect?" Night Sorrow murmured and transmitted his voice to Little Seven. "Little Seven, can the few of you collect it as a whole?" Naturally, he wasn't too confident about it. "If we combine, we should be able to collect it, but I'm not very confident." When Little Seven responded, he communicated with Little Nine and Little Five, asking them to cooperate with him. "Okay. You guys try it. If we can successfully collect this mutated blackthorn crystal mine, everyone should be able to raise their cultivation by a lot." The best use of this mutated blackthorn crystal mine was naturally to refine divine artifacts. But it could also be used to provide cultivation resources. Although this crystal mine had a dense fog aura, Night Sorrow had the power of virtue, so he could purify it while absorbing it. Chapter 31:16. Little 5, Little 9, cooperate with me. Let's merge into one and increase our strength. I can absorb everything in the world, so this mutated blackthorn crystal vein shouldn't be a problem. Little 7 said and merged into one with Little 5 and Little 9. Although it wasn't as good as the 7th, 8th, and 9th levels, which could allow one's strength to completely advance to the Sky Supreme level. But it wasn't too weak. Night Sorrow, we have merged. Can we start collecting the mutated blackthorn crystal vein? After the merger, Little 7 asked. You can start. But collecting this vein will definitely cause a huge commotion. You'd better hurry. Let's try our best to succeed before the other commanders can react. Night Sorrow reminded and used the power of his spirit to lock onto all the soldiers around him. He didn't let them have a chance to report. At the same time, he said, "Everyone, stop and gather here." Yes. The soldiers knew that Night Sorrow was the ruthless person who killed Commander Unimo. The soldiers didn't dare to disobey his words and immediately did as they were told. Let's start. After Night Sorrow gathered all the soldiers and miners, Little 7 greeted them and began to collect the mutated blackthorn crystal vein in front of him. This mutated blackthorn crystal vein had already developed some intelligence, but it hadn't completely become a holy spirit. When Little 7 appeared and absorbed it, the blackthorn crystal vein suddenly let out a roar similar to a dragon's roar. This was the sound of resistance, but it didn't fly up to dodge and could only rely on its own energy to resist. Because this mutated blackthorn crystal vein hadn't completely matured. If it was completely matured, it should be a Sky Supreme level Holy Spirit. That kind of strength wasn't something that the current Eternal Divine Tower or Night Sorrow could contend against. And because of this was a resource that Night Sorrow could conspire for. I should be able to collect it. After resisting the mutated blackthorn crystal vein for a while, Little 7 transmitted to Night Sorrow. This blackthorn crystal vein hadn't completely matured, so its resistance wasn't too strong. Everything was under his control. On the other side, when he saw the Eternal Divine Tower appear, he immediately collected the entire mine. The soldiers and miners were all stunned. Although Little 7 made it sound simple, directly collecting the mutated blackthorn crystal vein was too big of a commotion. It was as if the heavens and earth had been split apart. Especially when the entire crystal vein was pulled out from the ground. It caused the entire Yinshi mining area to tremble. With such a huge commotion, it was naturally impossible not to alert the commanders of the other regions. Soon, the other commanders were alarmed. A few commanders had already rushed over, wanting to see what exactly had happened. He guessed that such a huge commotion would alarm Night Sorrow in the entire Cloud Breath mining area. He sent a voice transmission to Little 7 and asked, "Little 7, how much longer do you need to collect it completely?" "It should be very quick. It won't take more than 30 breaths." At the same time, Little 7 responded and started to sustain it. Under its absorption, the entire mine was directly uprooted, looking like a black dragon that had been pulled out from the ground. As for the mutated blackthorn crystal vein, under Little 7's absorption, it basically didn't have any ability to resist. After it was completely pulled out of the ground, it lay across the void, constantly emitting dragon roars. However, this didn't have much of an effect. It was just that it would create a bigger commotion. At this time, the entire Cloud Breath mining area was shaking so much that the cultivators couldn't stand still. Night Sorrow and a few others all flew into the void and continued to watch the scene of Little 7 collecting the blackthorn crystal vein. At this time, Night Sorrow suddenly sent a voice transmission to the soldier who had helped him a lot. "Stop resisting. I'll put you into the space grotto heaven. Collecting this mine will definitely alarm Heavenly Supremacy Cloud Breath. We have to go. Thank you for your appreciation, sir. I'm willing to be at your beck and call." When the armored soldier heard Yi Shang's voice transmission, he immediately felt overwhelmed by the favor he was receiving. After putting him into the space grotto heaven, Night Sorrow asked, "What name did you use before?" "Sir, I'm not sure. My past memories have been completely sealed," the soldier said regretfully. His most recent memory was the scene that appeared in the Cloud Breath mining area. As for where he came from, he didn't know at all. "It doesn't matter. When this matter is over, I'll help you recover your memory. Night Sorrow knew that the soldier in front of him must have lost his memory because of the erosion of the fog. Thank you, sir. Hearing this, the soldier was clearly excited. Everyone wanted to know where they came from, and he was no exception. All right. I'll give you some resources. Absorb them first and increase your strength. I still have things to do, so I'll talk to you later. Night Sorrow handed some cultivation resources to the soldier and looked at Little Seven. At the same time, he prepared to leave. At this time, Little Seven was almost done with absorbing. But at this moment, something strange happened. Commander Yun-Chi, who was next to Yun-Mo, had already rushed over. When he saw Little Seven collecting the blackthorn crystal vein, he immediately shouted, "Where is Yun-Mo? Such a grade of vein has appeared. Shouldn't we report it to Lord Cloud Breath?" "Don't worry about him, continue to collect," Night Sorrow said as he let Little Seven continue to collect. At the same time, he was also prepared to attack. He was prepared to attack when Commander Yun-Chi attacked. At this point, the matter could no longer be concealed. Even if he brought out Patroller Yun-Lan from the Space Grotto Heaven, it wouldn't be of any use. Because the grade of this mutated blackthorn crystal vein was enough to make anyone below the extreme state go crazy. Commander Yun-Chi in front of him was definitely the same. Bastard! Where is Yun-Mo? Commander Yun-Chi shouted first, but he still didn't see Yun-Mo. He had already guessed what was going on and shouted, "Bold thief, how dare you have designs on my cloud breath mining area, die." At the same time as he roared out, he directly attacked Little Seven. His strength is about the same as Yun-Mo. After Yun-Chi attacked, Night Sorrow immediately judged his strength. Holding the black spear in his hand, he charged over and fought with him. At this time, the other commanders hadn't arrived yet. Facing Commander Yun-Chi, Night Sorrow didn't feel much pressure. Under the condition of activating the Treastrimsa battle mystic technique, he quickly suppressed him. "Bold thief! How dare you attack my cloud breath mining area? Aren't you afraid of Lord Cloud Breath's revenge?" Knowing that he wasn't Night Sorrow's opponent in terms of strength, Commander Yun-Chi began to change his tactics to contain him. At the same time, he began to speak. At the same time, he transmitted his voice to the other commanders, asking them to hurry over. Trying to stall for time? I'm afraid you don't have that kind of ability. Night Sorrow, who saw through his opponent's thoughts, completely exploded. Chapter 31:17. No matter what, you can't leave Yunchi mining area today. Although the situation was bad, Commander Yun-Chi did not report the matter to Heavenly Supremacy Yun-Chi immediately. Instead, he sent a voice transmission to the other commanders. Clearly, he still wanted a share of the loot. Facing Commander Yun-Chi's Night Sorrow, he sneered, "Whether I can leave or not, your spirit will be destroyed. You'd better worry about yourself." Dragon roar and phoenix cry. The moment he said that, Night Sorrow used a spirit attack on him. He also summoned the fire beacon smoke diagram. Under Night Sorrow's control, the fire beacon smoke diagram had already been eroded by the fog. Ordinary people could not see its flaws. How dare a mere supremacy be so arrogant? Watch how I kill you. Night Sorrow had a feeling that he was looking down on the world, which made Commander Yun-Chi very unhappy. He roared and took out a soul defense divine weapon to defend against the dragon roar and phoenix cry attack. As for the fire beacon smoke diagram, due to its limited grade, it had a certain effect on him, but it was not fatal. It did not make him lose his mind completely. While defending against the dragon roar and phoenix cry attack, Yun-Chi suffered some injuries. Then, he immediately used his strongest move on Night Sorrow, Cloud Breath Soul Severing Slash. This move was a life-saving ultimate move that Heavenly Supremacy Yun-Chi imparted to him. At this moment, he had no choice but to use it. Cloud Breath Soul Severing Slash. When Commander Yun-Chi used this move, Night Sorrow, who had activated the Sea Serpent's Eye, gasped instantly. This was not because of how powerful Commander Yun-Chi's move was or how much of a threat it posed to him. Instead, after Commander Yun-Chi used this move, an illusory figure immediately appeared in the void. This illusory figure clearly had the aura of a heavenly supremacy. At this moment, he was looking at Night Sorrow coldly. There was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Heavenly Supremacy Yun-Chi. Although Night Sorrow had never seen Heavenly Supremacy Yun-Chi before, he could completely determine the other party's identity at this moment. Paragon Cloudbreath gave Night Sorrow a disdainful look, then turned to Commander Yun-Chi, his eyes filled with killing intent. However, Commander Yun-Chi did not notice this at all. He continued to attack Night Sorrow. You still don't know when you're about to die. Night Sorrow said and cast out the Divine Essence Trapping Array. Seal it within, and then shoot out the godly shot. He guessed that Heavenly Sovereign Yun-Chi would arrive soon, so he wanted to kill Commander Yun-Chi as soon as possible. Then, he quickly left. Once Heavenly Supremacy Cloudbreak arrived, no matter how strong Night Sorrow was, he would not be a match for him. The one who should die is you. Commander Yun-Chi, who had not noticed Heavenly Supremacy Cloudbreath at all, was still in a state of excitement. It was just that he did not contend for the restraints of the Divine Essence Confinement Array at all. Night Sorrow's godly spear had pierced through his dantian. Die. After piercing through Commander Yun-Chi's dantian, Night Sorrow attacked again, directly destroying his immortal sea. He absorbed Commander Yun-Chi's body together with the space. He looked at Little Seven and said, "Little Seven, how much longer do you need?" "About 3 more breaths." As Little Seven replied, he continued to absorb the Blackthorn crystal vein with all his might. Although it was only 3 breaths of time, Night Sorrow spent an incomparably long time. Every breath felt like 3 years. It was clear how much pressure Heavenly Supremacy Cloudbreath brought to him. Done. After 3 breaths of time, Little Seven immediately said, "Let's go." Night Sorrow said and kept Little Seven into his space grotto heaven. At this moment, the commotion in front of him had already alarmed the entire Cloud Breath mining area, so he no longer hid it. He flew straight to the exit. As the situation was very chaotic, many miners and armored soldiers had scattered like birds and beasts. The 3 commanders he encountered did not recognize Night Sorrow, who was at the supremacy stage. He had also successfully arrived at the exit of the Cloud Breath mining area. As there was a Heavenly Supremacy level array, there was only one exit of the Cloud Breath mining area. It was extremely difficult to break through this hurdle. At this moment, Night Sorrow summoned Patroller Yunlan and said, "Patroller Yunlan, I have obtained a large number of mutated blackthorn crystals. But my identity has been exposed. Please bring me out. I will share some with you." After keeping Yunlan into the space grotto heaven, Night Sorrow cast an illusion on him. In Yunlan's opinion, Night Sorrow had indeed obtained a large number of mutated blackthorn crystals. But he did not see anything about the mutated blackthorn crystal vein. As Night Sorrow spoke, Patroller Yunlan said, "Don't worry. I will bring you out. But you can't forget about my blackthorn crystals. Don't worry. I, the Night Demon, am a man of my word. I will not forget about your mutated blackthorn crystals." Night Sorrow said and followed behind Patroller Yunlan. In fact, the Cloud Breath mining area was already completely sealed off. But after Yunlan appeared, the cultivators in charge of sealing off the exit did not dare to stop him at all. After sneaking out of the Cloud Breath mining area, Night Sorrow immediately took out all the mutated blackthorn crystals he obtained from Yunmo and handed them to Yunlan. "Thank you, Patroller Yunlan." Not bad." After checking the number of mutated blackthorn crystals, Yunlan nodded in satisfaction and said, "The number is not bad, we can split it 50-50. You can go. I will take it as I have never seen you." In the illusion controlled by Night Sorrow, the number of mutated blackthorn crystals obtained was controlled. What Yunlan obtained was already about 60%, so he was very satisfied. This was all calculated by Night Sorrow. "All right. Let's part ways here." After Patroller Yunlan finished speaking, Night Sorrow said goodbye to him and immediately used his movement technique to rush towards the nearby Cloud Dream City. He did not dare to go to Cloud Dream City because that was the headquarters of Cloud Dream Heavenly Sovereign. Night Sorrow, that Cloud Dream Heavenly Sovereign just now seemed to have locked onto your aura. Being locked onto by a Heavenly Sovereign is not a small matter. See if you can remove the mark he left on your body. While Night Sorrow was flying quickly, Little Seven suddenly transmitted his voice. That shadow left a mark on me? After Little Seven finished speaking, Night Sorrow said doubtfully. At the same time, he checked his body but did not find any mark. With our strength, we should not be able to detect it, let alone remove it. To remove a Heavenly Sovereign's mark, we need at least the strength of a Heavenly Sovereign. At this moment, the restriction-breaking hammer said. That's terrible. We have not left Cloud Dream Heavenly Sovereign's territory yet. It will be easy for him to catch up to us. Bai Mei Sanren also frowned. At this moment, Chen Qingyun blamed himself. It's all my fault. If I didn't come to save Chen Fan, we would not have encountered such danger. It's not your fault. It's mainly because of the mutated blackthorn crystal vein. Night Sorrow comforted him. In the world of cultivators, it's normal to fight for resources. We just need to find a teleportation array. Once we teleport back to Baotu City, Heavenly Sovereign Bao Tu can remove the mark on me. Clan M. Chapter 31:18. After all, Heavenly Supremacy Bao Tu still had to rely on Night Sorrow to take part in the selection competition organized by Lu Tian Academy. Even if Night Sorrow caused some trouble, he would cover it up for him. Night Sorrow, who knew what he was thinking, only wanted to return to Baotu City immediately. At this time, Bai Mei Sanren reminded him, Brother Night Sorrow. I think Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi will definitely think of what we can think of. I'm afraid it's not a good idea for you to target Dreamy Cloud City, which is the nearest city. It's like this. But a Heavenly Supremacy is too fast. If we choose other cities, he will definitely catch up with us. We might as well risk it in Dreamy Cloud City. Yi Shang, who was under a lot of pressure, explained as he moved forward at top speed. Is there anything we can do to help? Chen Qingyun asked. I don't think so. But I can let you guys out. After all, Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi has targeted me. You guys can find your own way to return to Baotu City. Night Sorrow continued. He believed that with the White Jade, Bai Mei Sanren could lead Chen Qingyun back to Baotu City. But at this time, Bai Mei Sanren rejected him. Let's go through thick and thin together. If there's good stuff, we'll enjoy it. If we run when there's danger, what's the point of that? That's right. Although we don't have much power, we're definitely not afraid of death. Chen Qingyun said. He was not willing to leave Night Sorrow just to protect himself. Hearing this, Night Sorrow was very pleased and said, all right. Then we'll run for our lives together. But I have to remind you. Don't underestimate any Heavenly Supremacy. They are completely different from earthly supremacies and earthly supremacies. There's no way we can fight against them. Don't worry. At most, my soul will be destroyed. I have no regrets in life to be able to save my wife with your help. Chen Qingyun said with a smile. At this time, Night Sorrow used the power of merit to purify the fog on Chen Qingyun's wife, Yang Fan. It didn't take long for it to be purified. Where am I? Yang Fan, who had been purified, was similar to Chen Qingyun, who had just woken up. Both of them were in a daze. Then, his head began to swell with pain as he was assaulted by a large wave of memories. Husband. When these memories settled down, Yang Fan immediately threw himself into Chen Qingyun's arms. She couldn't accept the reality in front of her. Their beautiful home had been destroyed and they had been enslaved for so many years. The reality was too cruel. Fan, don't be sad. For us to be able to reunite is already the best arrangement. Chen Qingyun held Yang Fan in her arms and did not mention that they were being pursued by a Heavenly Supreme. He was afraid of destroying this rare piece. Seeing that the husband and wife had reunited, they did not say anything unnecessary and simply hugged each other. Peaceful and beautiful. Night Sorrow felt that he couldn't let Heavenly Cloud break Heavenly Supremacy ruin this beautiful moment. He immediately ignited the power of his bloodline and raised his strength to the maximum. When Night Sorrow arrived at the Dream Cloud City, Yunshi Heavenly Supremacy hadn't arrived yet. However, they discovered that the Dream Cloud City was already under martial law. One could only enter but not exit. Furthermore, the use of teleportation arrays had been banned. Clearly, this was an order from Yunshi Heavenly Supremacy. What should we do? The teleportation array has been sealed. This is our only way out. Should we force our way in? Realizing that the teleportation array had been banned, Bai Mei Sanren spoke. There are no heavenly supremacies in the city, so there shouldn't be anyone who can stop me. We'll force our way in. Night Sorrow said and summoned the evil spirit clone and the chaotic heavenly crystal beast without any hesitation. They rushed toward the teleportation array together. He knew that they couldn't afford to waste any time. There was no room for hesitation. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. After Night Sorrow appeared with his men, the cultivators in charge of guarding the teleportation array immediately informed the experts in the city to rush over. There's only one half-step Heavenly Supreme. If we kill him quickly, we'll be able to rush to the teleportation array. Activate the teleportation array by force. As Night Sorrow spoke, he controlled the evil spirit clone and charged toward the half-step Heavenly Supreme in front of him. How dare you! How dare you covet Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi's belongings? You've really grown 2 brains. The half-step Heavenly Supreme was called Yun-Tu, and he was one of the 3 experts in Dream Cloud City. He held a sword and slashed at the evil spirit clone. However, the moment he attacked, he realized that the evil spirit clone's body was at the level of a Heavenly Supreme. He cursed inwardly. Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi hadn't warned him about this. He thought that the main person who escaped was an intermediate-level Heavenly Supreme who could contend with an Earth Supreme. Boom! Yun-Tu's sword slashed at the evil spirit clone with a loud sound. However, it didn't cause much damage. On the contrary, the evil spirit clone used its strong body to grab the sword with its bare hands. Cold sweat broke out on Yun-Tu's forehead when the divine weapon was caught. However, before he could react, Night Sorrow's attack had already arrived. On the surface, he was only an intermediate-level Heavenly Supreme, but in actual combat strength, he could already contend with a half-step Heavenly Supreme in the foggy area. The Azure Divine Spear technique was unleashed, and it immediately brought great pressure to Yun-Tu. Why are they so strong? Facing Night Sorrow and the evil spirit clone's attacks, Yun-Tu was a little flustered. He immediately gave up on his sword and fled. Let's enter the teleportation portal. Night Sorrow, who didn't want to waste time with him, immediately flew onto the teleportation portal when he saw Yun-Tu dodge. He also summoned the Chaos Heavenly Crystal Beast that could fight against some Earth supremacies. He directly activated the teleportation portal with the Black Thorn Crystal. Oh no! Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi has already left Dream Cloud City. He should have reached the next city, Cloud Heaven City. Unable to stop Night Sorrow, Yun-Tu anxiously delivered the ship to Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi. Trash. You are all trash. None of you are of great use. Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi quickly sent a voice transmission over and scolded Yun-Tu. At the same time, Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi teleported directly to Cloud Heaven City from the Yunshi mining area. He could also sense Night Sorrow's aura appearing in Cloud Heaven City. However, by the time Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi arrived at Cloud Heaven City, Night Sorrow had already teleported away again. This time, Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi sensed and discovered that Night Sorrow and the others had actually teleported to his headquarters, Cloud Heaven City. Despicable ants. Heavenly Supremacy Yunshi, who was completely enraged, knew that even if he returned to Cloud Heaven City, he definitely wouldn't be able to make it in time. Therefore, he stopped chasing Night Sorrow and took out the map to study it. He was prepared to calculate the city they would appear in. In front of the teleportation portal, He waited for Night Sorrow and the others to appear. As long as he could meet them, he was 100% confident that he could kill Night Sorrow directly. Retrieve the mutated Blackthorn crystal vein. Clan M. Chapter 31:19. After all, in the history of the Fog Zone, no supremacy or Earth supremacy had ever defeated a heavenly supremacy. He was 100% confident in himself. Heavenly supremacy Cloudy Breath had chosen to wait in a city called Pingyao City. It was a place one had to pass through to leave Cloudy Breath territory. He judged that Night Sorrow would definitely appear here if he wanted to leave through teleportation. And that was the truth. If Night Sorrow and the rest wanted to return to Bao Tu City, they had to use the teleportation array in Pingyao City. Otherwise, they would have to pass through a famous and dangerous place called the Demon Fall Battlefield before reaching the next city and continuing to use the teleportation array. No one knew when the Demon Fall Battlefield was created. It was very evil. Even heavenly supremacies who entered the Fog Zone would find it difficult to come out, so no one dared to enter. When Night Sorrow approached Pingyao City, Chen Qingyan's wife, Yang Fan, briefly explained the Demon Fall Battlefield to him. After listening to her explanation, Night Sorrow looked at Pingyao City and said, "If I'm not wrong, Heavenly Supremacy Cloudy Breath is very likely waiting for us in the city ahead. I don't know how far away the mark he planted is. Can he sense us?" The environment outside Pingyao City is very special. It can block perception. Heavenly Supremacy Cloudy Breath shouldn't be able to track us. But once we enter the city, we should be exposed. Chen Qingyan's wife, Yang Fan, quickly analyzed. She had heard many people mention some things in the vicinity in the Cloudy Breath mining area, so she knew a little. After Yang Fan finished speaking, Night Sorrow said, "If that's the case, then there are two paths we can take. We definitely can't enter Pingyao City. We can either contact Heavenly Supremacy Bao Tu or pass through the Demon Fall Battlefield. The Demon Fall Battlefield is too dangerous. Let's try to contact Heavenly Supremacy Bao Tu and ask him to come over," Bai Mei Sanren said. Yang Fan's description had traumatized him a lot about the Demon Fall Battlefield. He didn't want to get involved. "Okay. I'll try to contact him." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he used the voice transmission jade that Heavenly Supremacy Bao Tu had left for him. However, there was no response even after 20 breaths. Night Sorrow frowned. It seems that the surroundings can not only block Heavenly Supremacy Cloudy Breath's perception. It also blocked the sound transmission stone. Paragon Bao Tutian shouldn't be able to receive my message. That's not good. Why don't we leave this area and go somewhere where we can contact Paragon Bao Tutian? After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Chen Qingyun asked doubtfully. The Devil Fall Battlefield was too much of a deterrent for them. No one wanted to enter it. All right. After all, the Devil Fall Battlefield is a place of death that no one is willing to enter. Night Sorrow said as he activated the Sea Serpent's Eye and walked in the direction he had come from. However, as he walked, Night Sorrow realized that something was wrong. Even he could not determine the direction. After walking for a while, Night Sorrow realized that this area was not as simple as it seemed. However, it was already too late. He could only lead the group and walk forward aimlessly. Are we going to enter the Demon Fall Battlefield? Realizing that Night Sorrow could no longer identify the direction, Chen Qingyun asked doubtfully. Hearing that, Night Sorrow smiled helplessly and said, "Things are out of control now. It's fine if we can enter the Demon Fall Battlefield, but if we can't, I'm afraid we'll be trapped here." Sigh. What an unlucky year. Bai Mei Sanren sighed and continued, "If you really can't find the way forward, Brother Night Sorrow, why don't you just stay here and cultivate? Paragon Yinshi can't catch up with us here anyway. The problem now is that I want to enter the Killer Heaven Academy. If we spend too much time here, I'm afraid we'll delay the Killer Heaven Academy's qualifiers." Night Sorrow said. He wanted to enter the Killer Heaven Academy to find a suitable body for supreme longevity. If he could find it, the Eternal Supreme World would have another Supreme Realm expert. This was too important. He could not miss it. That's true. If there's no other way, we'll look for the entrance to the Devil Fall battlefield. It's better than being trapped here forever. Bai Mei Sanren said after listening to Night Sorrow. At that moment, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Seven. Little Seven. If I want to cultivate, do you think I can completely absorb the mutated blackthorn crystal vein in a short time? Hearing Night Sorrow's question, Little Seven said, the best use of the mutated blackthorn crystal vein is to refine a heavenly artifact. If you insist on using it for cultivation, it's best not to use it directly. Instead, absorb it into your body and use it as a trump card. Use it as a trump card? Night Sorrow asked doubtfully. Yes. Refine it directly and turn it into something similar to a divine artifact. According to my estimation, if you can successfully refine it, it'll be equivalent to having another heavenly artifact. Little Seven explained slowly. As for the mutated blackthorn crystal vein in front of him, he had no intention of absorbing it himself. Because to Little Seven, finding Little Eight was the fastest way to increase his strength. Okay. Then I'll try to refine it now. After all, if we enter the Demon Fall battlefield, we'll need some life-saving means. Night Sorrow said and asked Little Seven to cooperate with him and help him refine the mutated blackthorn crystal vein. Just like that, 18 years had passed. After 18 years, Night Sorrow successfully refined the mutated blackthorn crystal vein. He made it work with him. After the mutated blackthorn crystal vein was refined, Night Sorrow summoned it again. It was almost equivalent to having another heavenly artifact Black Dragon as a helper. Although the blackthorn crystal vein's intelligence had been completely destroyed, under the control of Night Sorrow's godly soul, it could still unleash powerful attacks. It was even stronger than the evil spirit doppelganger. Because the blackthorn crystal vein itself contained endless energy, while the evil spirit doppelganger was only a heavenly artifact body. We can enter the Demon Fall battlefield now. It's best if we can leave within 10 years. After all, the time limit agreed with Heavenly Artifact Bao 2 is 30 years. Night Sorrow said and continued, at the latest, we have to leave within 100 years. After all, the selection of Heavenly Artifact Academy will be held more than 100 years later. Okay. We'll do our best to help you. Bai Mei Sanren said. Night Sorrow's strength was constantly improving, and the gap between them was getting wider and wider. This made Bai Mei Sanren feel a little helpless. As for Chen Qingyun and Yang Fan, there was nothing he could do. Don't worry. I'll grow with everyone. Night Sorrow knew what everyone was thinking. After saying that, he began to look for the entrance to the Demon Fall battlefield. After wandering in the fog for about a year, they finally entered the Demon Fall battlefield. As soon as they entered the Demon Fall battlefield, Night Sorrow and the rest found themselves in front of an opening. There was no fog in the Demon Fall battlefield, but there was a murderous aura that made people tremble in fear, flowing in the wind. It made people tremble with fear. Clan M. Chapter 31:20. This Devil Fall battlefield is a bit chilling. If an ordinary Supreme Being were to come here, they would probably go crazy. Bai Mei Sanren, who had been summoned by Night Sorrow from the Space Grotto Heaven, started to tremble as soon as he came out. Although there was no fog here, the murderous aura made him feel suffocated. His voice was trembling as he said this. The murderous aura is indeed very strong. Countless cultivators must have fallen here. If one's temperament is not strong enough, fighting in this environment will probably affect them greatly. Night Sorrow said and walked side by side with Bai Mei Sanren. At this time, he opened the sea serpent's eye and kept observing everything around him. This Demon Fall battlefield was full of broken walls and ruins. These collapsed buildings had experienced countless years of wind, frost, rain, and snow, and their original appearance could not be seen. In contrast, many of the corpses on the ruins were more well preserved. Although some of the cultivators had fallen many years ago, the flesh and blood on their bodies had not dissipated, but they were somewhat shriveled. They looked like dried corpses. The clothes worn by these dried corpses had long been blown out of shape by the wind and were scattered like rags. Some of the divine weapons scattered on the ground had long lost their spirituality and turned into ordinary iron. Desolation. Desolation. Night Sorrow and Bai Mei Sanren walked in the ruins for 2 days and 2 nights, and this was what they felt. On the 3rd day, the two were still walking in the ruins. Bai Mei Sanren said, "If this area is like this, no matter how big it is, we should be able to fly out within 10 years. It's just a battlefield. It shouldn't be so big that we can't fly out. Rumor has it that even heavenly supreme beings can't get out. I don't think this place is that simple." Night Sorrow kept using the sea serpent's eye to observe the surroundings, but he could not see anything. It was precisely because he couldn't see anything that he was deeply worried. Analyzing some of the formations on the battlefield might be beyond his field of vision. While Yi Shang was pondering with a frown, Wanderer Whitebrow's eyes suddenly lit up, and he said, "Younger brother Yi Shang, look. There seems to be an undamaged divine artifact in front of us." An undamaged divine artifact? When Yi Shang heard this, he looked over and saw an undamaged spear that was glowing with light. This long spear was silver-white in color, and there were 9 coiling dragons on the spear, which looked very lifelike. It was the same with the eyes of the divine dragon. The long spear was not occupied by the fog at all. It was impossible to see the evil aura on the spear. However, this long spear was filled with killing intent. Is this a heavenly supreme level divine artifact? While Night Sorrow was observing the spear, Bai Mei Sanren continued. Although he had once been a heavenly sovereign, he could not determine the grade of the spear in front of him with his current realm. Night Sorrow, who was observing, said softly, "I'm afraid it's more than that. I think it's very likely to be a half-step to the supreme realm. Otherwise, it shouldn't be able to survive so easily in this demon fall battlefield until now." In fact, he could not observe the grade of this silver spear and could only guess based on his feelings. At this moment, Little Seven suddenly said, "You're right. It's a half-step to the supreme realm divine artifact. Don't look anymore. Stay away from it. Let's go around it. This silver spear's killing intent is too strong. If we're too close, we might be attacked. We can't withstand the attack of a half-step to the supreme realm." "Okay. Then let's go around it," Night Sorrow said, then said to Bai Mei Sanren, "Brother, let's go around it." But at this moment, Night Sorrow was surprised to find that Bai Mei Sanren had already rushed out and was flying toward the silver spear. "Brother, stop." Seeing Bai Mei Sanren flying toward the silver spear, Night Sorrow immediately roared. He used his movement technique and chased after him. Usually, Night Sorrow's speed was much faster than Bai Mei Sanren's, but at this moment, he felt like he could not catch up. What's going on? Night Sorrow chased after him, but Bai Mei Sanren was flying toward the silver spear like a madman. "You're courting death. How dare you offend me?" At this moment, the 9 coiling dragons on the silver spear all flew out. They directly attacked Bai Mei Sanren. That intense murderous aura immediately pressured the surrounding space to the point that it changed shape. What's going on? Under such circumstances, Bai Mei Sanren suddenly recovered. He did not understand what had happened. Why did he suddenly appear here? "Brother, be careful." At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly caught up and summoned the black thorn crystal. The black dragon appeared and immediately fought with the 9 coiling dragons. At this moment, while Night Sorrow was helping, he explained to Bai Mei Sanren what had happened. He also asked, "Brother, what happened to you just now?" "Just now, a thought suddenly appeared in my mind. I had to get the silver spear, so I lost control and rushed out." White-browed Wanderer thought for a moment and then confirmed, "This is definitely not my own idea. Things are a little strange. There might be other existences around." Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Bai Mei Sanren while observing the surroundings. At this moment, the black dragon was fighting against the 9 coiling dragons and was not at a disadvantage. It was extremely valiant. This kind of combat power should be at the level of a heavenly supreme, even stronger than Night Sorrow himself. However, after fighting for a while, a thought appeared in Night Sorrow's mind, and that was to charge forward and self-destruct to kill the 9 coiling dragons. This thought became stronger and stronger. In the end, Night Sorrow could not suppress it anymore. Something's not right. Just as he was about to lose control, Night Sorrow suddenly used the power of merit to protect himself. This murderous and evil thought also disappeared without a trace. At this moment, the battle between the Black Dragon and the 9 coiling dragons had reached its climax. Stop. This is a misunderstanding, our minds are being controlled. Night Sorrow shouted at the silver spear as he summoned the Black Dragon back. The 9 coiling dragons originally wanted to chase after him, but at this moment, the silver spear's weapon spirit suddenly said, "Hey Yenhu, come out." After the silver spear's weapon spirit spoke, the 9 coiling dragons suddenly flew back. However, the silver spear's weapon spirit called out to Hey Yenhu, but there was no response from the void. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who had completely activated the power of merit, felt that the silver spear's weapon spirit had withdrawn its hostility towards him. "You are not a creature of the fog, why did you disguise yourself as them?" Hey Yenhu did not appear, so the silver spear's weapon spirit suddenly looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "I came from the Eternal Supreme Realm, and I came to the fog to improve my strength. Naturally, I had to disguise myself as them." Night Sorrow explained. He could feel that the silver spear's weapon spirit did not come from the fog. Clan M. Chapter 31-21. Also, the silver spear had an aura that was very similar to the Eternal Supreme Realm. Night Sorrow concluded that the enemy must have been dispelled because he released the power of merit and restrained the aura of the foggy area. "Since you're not from the foggy area, you're not my enemy." The spirit of the silver spear continued, "Just now, you must have been bewitched by Hey Yenhu. That's why you suddenly charged at me." Night Sorrow looked at the silver spear and asked, "Hey Yenhu? What is that?" Hey Yenhu is Mia's battle pet countless years ago. It's half a step away from the Supreme Realm. However, it's best at ambushing and bewitching. We've been trapped here for countless years and it has ambushed me countless times. However, it failed every time. The spirit of the silver spear said disdainfully. It did not have a good impression of Hey Yenhu at all. "You can fight me as battle pet and not be at a disadvantage. So, are you a divine artifact refined by some big shot?" Night Sorrow put Bai Mei Sanren, who was not in good condition, into the space and continued to ask. At that moment, Bai Mei Sanren had suffered a severe backlash after being bewitched by Hey Yenhu. He was a bit weak and could no longer stay outside. "My name is the Coiling Dragon Spear, Yen Heng's natal divine artifact. At its peak, it was an ultimate divine artifact, but it was damaged in the battle later. Now, it's half a step away from the Supreme Realm." The Coiling Dragon Spear was very proud when it said Yen Heng's name. Senior Yen Heng's natal divine artifact. Night Sorrow was surprised when he heard the Coiling Dragon Spear say that. The wounded Bai Mei Sanren, on the other hand, was confused. After a moment of silence, he asked in confusion, "I'm also someone who experienced the past. Why haven't I heard that Yen Heng had a natal divine artifact called the Coiling Dragon Spear? I don't remember him having a natal divine artifact. If he did have one, it would be his own body. Ahem. Well, you might not know about some things back then." Hearing Bai Mei Sanren's words, the Coiling Dragon Spear felt a little awkward. In reality, even though it had been personally refined by Yen Heng and was once a paramount divine artifact, it really wasn't Yen Heng's personal divine artifact. Yen Hengsher used his own body as a divine artifact to fight against the heavens and the earth. In the end, he died in the misty area. He didn't have a natal divine artifact on him. Forget it, let's not talk about this anymore. It's all in the past. Night Sorrow saw that the Coiling Dragon Spear was a little embarrassed, so he immediately changed the topic. "Why didn't you choose to leave when you were trapped here? I don't see anything here that can trap you. This battlefield really can't trap me. But that He Yenhu was extremely detestable. You've been restraining me all this while. The coiling dragon spear explained in a resigned manner before continuing, even though it's no match for me, there's no way I'll be able to leave this place. You are the divine artifact of Senior Yenheng, so you can be considered as our senior. I wonder if we can help you. Night Sorrow said slowly. The coiling dragon spear was a divine artifact refined by Yenheng. If it could be restored to its peak, it might be of great use in future battles. With your strength, I'm afraid it won't be of much use if you want to participate in a battle at our level. The weapon spirit of the coiling dragon spear looked at Night Sorrow and said, however, if you can break through to the heavenly supreme level, with the help of the power of merit, you should be able to help me get rid of He Yenhu once and for all. Senior coiling dragon, you must have experienced the last great calamity. To be honest, in about 10,000 years, the misty area will once again launch an attack on the eternal supreme world. Time is too tight. I don't know when I'll break through to the heavenly supreme level. By then, it might be too late. Why don't we try now and see if we can leave this battlefield under He Yenhu's interference? If we want to leave this place successfully, we need to break through the battlefield's array core. I can't do it alone under He Yenhu's interference. If you help me hold He Yenhu back, are you sure you can last for 100 breaths of time? When the coiling dragon spear heard that the misty area was about to launch another massacre, its tone suddenly changed. However, with He Yenhu holding it back, it was indeed difficult for it to leave the battlefield. Hearing the coiling dragon spear's words, Night Sorrow continued, Senior coiling dragon spear, your strength is stronger than He Yenhu's. Why don't you tell me how to break the array? I'll break the array, and you can hold He Yenhu back. It's easier said than done to break the array in front of you. You're just a Middle Earthly sovereign. Even a Middle Earthly sovereign wouldn't be able to do it. This is because you can't withstand the attack of the array. The attack of the array core is at the level of a heavenly supreme. How are you going to withstand it? After Night Sorrow finished speaking, the coiling dragon spear in human form shook its head. Speaking of which, Night Sorrow's realm was still too low. Believe in Night Sorrow. He can do it. And I'll help him. At this time, Little Seven, who was in the space cave, suddenly spoke. In fact, after Little Seven had released the blackthorn crystal vein, it had fallen into a deep sleep. Otherwise, it would have spoken long ago. Because it had encountered the coiling dragon spear before. It's you. Seeing Little Seven appear, the coiling dragon spear immediately said excitedly. After countless years, seeing an old acquaintance made it feel very different. It's me. Not only me, but my two brothers as well. Little Seven said and asked Night Sorrow to release it, Little Five, and Little Nine. It was prepared to gather the power of the three towers to help Night Sorrow break the array. With the help of the three of you, the hope is much greater. However, his strength is still too weak. When the coiling dragon spear saw Little Seven, it naturally chose to trust it. However, it still ridiculed Night Sorrow's realm. Senior, although my realm is low. The blackthorn crystal vein in my body has the combat power of a heavenly supreme. The evil spirit clone that I control also has the strength of a heavenly supreme. When the black dragon blocks the attack, I'll use the evil spirit clone to receive it. Who knows, we might be able to successfully resist the attack of the array's core. Night Sorrow knew that the attack of the array's core was definitely not simple. However, he really did not want to be trapped in this array forever. It would delay 10,000 years of cultivation time. Therefore, he wanted to try his best. According to what you said, there is some possibility. However, your strength is too low. How about this? I'll give you some laws and essence. Try to absorb them. Strive to advance to upper supremacy as soon as possible. Or peak supremacy. Or even try to break through to Earth Supreme. This way, you can increase your chances. As the coiling dragon spear spoke, it shot some laws and essence at Night Sorrow. These came from the coiling dragon spear itself and were much more precious than ordinary heavenly supreme laws and essence. Senior, don't worry. I will try my best to increase my strength as quickly as possible. At this moment, Knight Sorrow did not delay at all and started to cultivate on the spot. He believed that the coiling dragon spear could resist He Yenhu and not let him interfere with his cultivation. Clan M. Chapter 31-22. That was the truth. While Knight Sorrow was cultivating, He Yenhu had been waiting for an opportunity to attack Knight Sorrow. However, the coiling dragon spear had successfully blocked all of them. After all, it was slightly stronger than He Yenhu. As for the aftermath of some of the attacks, to Knight Sorrow, they could only be considered as a test and were not fatal. As time passed, Knight Sorrow gradually adapted to cultivating under a certain degree of interference. And the laws and essence provided by the coiling dragon spear was indeed the first good thing he had come into contact with in his life. These laws and essence contained a trace of extreme intent. It was a very subtle feeling. Although limited by his realm, Knight Sorrow could not fully comprehend it. However, it had an indescribable effect on his realm. As expected, my cultivation is still a little too low. If I were an Earth sovereign now, I should be able to comprehend the essence. Knight Sorrow pondered for a while and made his own judgment in his heart. At this moment, he was too far away from the extreme realm. However, through the things in front of him, he gained a lot of confidence. His talent was enough. What he lacked was only time. Not bad. His comprehension is very good. He should be able to advance to an upper sovereign in 3 to 5 years. Such talent is already not inferior to anyone. While guarding Knight Sorrow, the coiling dragon spear made its own judgment. In fact, letting Knight Sorrow use its own laws and essence to cultivate was also a test for Knight Sorrow. If Knight Sorrow's talent was not enough, there was no way he could use these laws and essence to improve his strength. His performance at this moment made the coiling dragon spear somewhat impressed. With its vision, it could see that Knight Sorrow's future was limitless. Thinking of the great calamity that was about to befall the eternal supreme world, there were more thoughts in the coiling dragon spear's mind. Knight Sorrow was not clear about some of the thoughts of the coiling dragon spear's weapon spirit. He was completely immersed in cultivation. After arriving at the eternal supreme world, he realized that his past glory was basically left in the divine world. Even the taboo attribute that was once a trump card was not surprising at all in the eternal supreme world. However, he did not lack the courage to start all over again. In this predicament, he would strive to catch up, climbing step by step towards the heights of the strong. Done. Upper supremacy. During his cultivation, Knight Sorrow's state of mind had always been very tenacious. In the end, He Yenhu's interference had become more and more serious. But Knight Sorrow was not moved at all when he thought about how difficult it had been to come this far. With a heart as firm as a boulder, he successfully absorbed the laws and essence bestowed by the coiling dragon spear, advancing to the level of upper supremacy. After overcoming the lightning tribulation, Knight Sorrow had successfully advanced to the next level. At this time, the coiling dragon spear looked at Knight Sorrow and asked, "Can you advance to half-step earthly sovereign in one go?" "I have enough laws and essences here." "I can, but there's no need for that. It will take a few decades for me to advance to half-step to earthly sovereign, but there is no qualitative improvement to my strength." Knight Sorrow explained and continued, "What I need now is not cultivation." Instead, he was researching the usage of the blackthorn crystal vein and the evil spirit doppelganger. After all, they will play a very important role in the process of breaking the formation. Actually, a few decades is not a long time. You can advance to half-step to earthly sovereign first, then study the blackthorn crystal vein and the evil spirit doppelganger. After Knight Sorrow finished his explanation, the coiling dragon spear's artifact spirit continued. It felt that a few decades was nothing at all. At this time, Knight Sorrow transmitted his voice, "But I have other things to do. To tell you the truth, in 100 years, I will find a way to enter the Lu Tian Academy and find a suitable body for a senior in the eternal supremacy world." Because of his body, his realm is stuck at the level of heavenly sovereign, unable to advance any further. Oh. There is such a peerless genius in the eternal supremacy world? Hearing this, the coiling dragon spear's artifact spirit immediately perked up. He pondered for a moment and said, "Tell me the specific situation, and I will see if I can help." If the eternal supremacy world can have one more supreme expert, the situation will be greatly improved. At this time, it knew that Yen Hengshi had fallen, and the only high-end combat power left in the eternal supremacy world was Yen. Therefore, when it heard this, it was rather excited. It's like this: Night Sorrow did not hide anything and told it about supreme longevity. Although he promised supreme longevity that he would not reveal it, he felt that it should be fine to tell the coiling dragon spear. After all, it was the divine weapon of a predecessor of the eternal supremacy world. Bastard. The eternal supremacy world is now in the hands of those scum. How infuriating. They can't be the descendants of those evil creatures, right? He waited for Yi Shang to explain the entire situation. The coiling dragon spear's artifact spirit felt extremely regretful. According to Night Sorrow, Supreme Longevity's advancement to the Supreme Realm was basically a done deal. But it was crippled by the people of the eternal supremacy world. How could it not be angry? Senior, it's useless to be angry and regretful now. What we can do is to forge forward and do our best to do the things in the future. Night Sorrow felt that the murderous aura around the coiling dragon spear was a little heavy, and immediately comforted it. At the same time, he used the power of merit to surround it. He felt that the murderous aura of the coiling dragon spear was a little evil, and it should have something to do with the foggy environment of the Demonfall battlefield. To tell you the truth, I am extremely violent in the current environment. Your power of merit is very good, it can help me control my murderous aura. Thank you. The coiling dragon spear, which was surrounded by the power of merit, immediately recovered from its state of explosion. He spoke gratefully. Senior, you are too polite. We are all the hope of the eternal supremacy world. Naturally, we should take care of each other. Night Sorrow did not put himself too low. He knew his own value. The coiling dragon spear did not refute Night Sorrow's words. It continued, what you just said does have a possibility of success. But a body with such talent is something that can only be found by chance. If there is, it will definitely be guarded by those three existences. It will definitely not be easy to get it. Yes. The road ahead is definitely not easy, but we can't give up hope because of this. Night Sorrow said sonorously, and then continued, Senior. I will go into seclusion for a period of time. When I come out, we will leave this damned place together. As for the next step, we will study it again. Okay. You go into seclusion, I will protect you again. The artifact spirit of the coiling dragon spear said and set up another array formation to protect Yi Shang. As for Night Sorrow, he took a step forward in his research on the Blackthorn crystal vein and the demonic spirit doppelganger. About 10 years later, Night Sorrow successfully came out of seclusion. He looked at the coiling dragon spear and said, Senior, we can try to break the formation. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.